grip, rip and sip, rip and sip. Roll the dice, take a grip, rip and sip, rip and sip. Let the moment flick, catching feels, not just hits.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Rip and Sip podcast. As always, I am Curio Rich, and with me is Raging Nez. How you doing, Dan?
Good. Very good. Very good.
All the better because we are joined by a very special guest this evening, and this is probably something that we didn't think was going to happen just yet, but we're grateful for it happening regardless.
Yeah, this was the end game. Not going to lie. He's in the room. This was always the end game to get him on. So now we've got to look forward to whatever doomsday is. So, Randy, thanks for joining us.
No worries. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm very excited.
Good. Well, we've got a plethora of questions to ask you, so I think we're just going to crack on with that, okay?
Yeah,
and just do a bit of back and forth, if that's all right with you.
Yeah, let's go for it.
Brilliant. So, first question, which I'm burning to ask, is why come on this podcast with a couple of grumpy old hairy blokes?
Why come on the podcast? I'll be scrolling TikTok, most nights. I see you guys quite a lot. And then some of the stuff is always, well, not always, but often aimed at me. And I always thought to myself, it'd be good to get on there and chat to them. And obviously it's entertaining as well, so I don't know.
Appreciate that. Okay, so what I'm also keen to know, or what we're keen to know, is your collecting origin story. How did you get into Pokemon?
How did I get into Pokemon? I used to live next to my parents lived next to them for, my entire life until I moved out, next to some neighbors that had a Pokemon club. So they ran a weekly Pokemon club every Tuesday night. You'd go there, you'd play in a league. So you'd play the TCG, you'd get a gym badge, and you'd play all kind of games. It's basically like after school club, but for Pokemon. My brothers went. I was too young to go. I wasn't old enough to go. So my mum would take me. So they would let me in because I'm the neighbor, and I would just go with her. And then obviously I got a little bit older and continued doing it. They had a distribution somehow. They had a distribution for Pokemon, so Jungle, Team Rocket, all that kind of jazz. So she used to just buy nonstop booster boxes for us. Obviously back then these were just retail, right? Like actual retail as well. Like not even today retail. It's actually like £4 a pack or whatever, probably less than that actually. So she was addicted to it. So she would get me to fill in the binders and finish all the sets. And I was not allowed to play with them. So I was not allowed to put them in my deck. I had to keep them sleeved and stuff. So that's the collection origin story, I guess. Both of my older brothers are into Pokemon. My oldest brother was into like the games, and my brother was into the cards. So sort of just continued from there. Then I just play every single game. So every Pokemon game I played, unfortunately, until like Scarlet and Violet, I haven't played that one. I haven't finished that yet. But that's how I got into it. And then 2016, I got back into the cards and started grading. That's when I first started grading with PSA. 2016, I had loads of cards that all those sets that I still had. So in 2016, I had them all still. So all first edition, like Team Rocket, not first edition Jungle, but first edition Gym Heroes, Gym Challenge, Neo Genesis. Graded them all, got like 9s, 10s and stuff. I was well happy because my mum allowed me to keep them in good condition. So I was very thankful for her later in my later life than I was when she wouldn't let me play with them. And then I guess the rest is just history, really. 2019 actually got back into it. Yeah. I was in some YouTube beef with my mate's brother. And then I was getting stressed. I was like, I can't keep doing like this stuff. I don't really enjoy it. So I started opening Pokemon for fun again, get back into it. And then I start my ex, now my wife at the time was like, you should put the videos on YouTube. So started doing that as like a hobby, and then just started growing from there. And then 2019 since that's when like Randolph Pokemon became a thing. Since then, basically, that's the whole story. Wrapped up.
Amazing. And that beef wasn't anything to do with the rap battles by any chance, was it?
Nah, I don't know what that be. I can't even remember how it started. It started off as a joke, and then just went south. I guess
It's usually how it works.
Yeah.
Okay, so fast forward to ace grading.
Yeah.
How and why did you start ace grading?
Ace grading was started because I obviously used to work a lot with graded gems. So I used to submitted my PSA cards to PSA via Ludkins at the time in 2016. I used to watch a guy on YouTube called Graded Groudon. And then years later, when I was getting back into YouTube, I got a message from Tom. So basically Tom messaged me saying, "Hey, Randy, we run a PSA middleman service. We'd love to work with you." And then I looked into them and I was like, oh my God, that's Graded Groudon. I used to watch him all the time. Keep in mind, he used to have like 100 views, and I was just one of them. He used to just buy, sell, grade, that kind of jazz. And then I started working with them. So I'd promote Graded Gem. I'd use them for my PSA submissions. I would never take payment or anything like that. It was nothing. It was just literally they would submit my cards. I'd pay for them, and then I'd just promote them. I'm like, guys, if you want to get your cards graded, check them out. So we started having like a working relationship. In that time, I remember they were speaking to PSA, and I was speaking to PSA. Like, let's look. I'm doing these videos. I'm getting like 200,000 views per PSA return. Let's like work together. I don't know. I just want to do something. You know, I'm always that kind of way. I always want to create something or build something. So I was like, you know, I just feel like I'm giving them all this attention. It's nice to try and do something. And I remember in their own words, they were like, we do not believe in content. We don't want to work with anyone, no content creators, something like that. And I was like, well, that sounds a bit weird. You know, and then after that, they closed, right? PSA closed for what ended up being 3 years. Well, sorry, not 3 years. It was less than that. It felt like 3 years. I think it's 3 years. I think it took me 3 years to get my cards back. But it got to a point where we were really frustrated at that point and thinking to ourselves, there's got to be a better solution. And, you know, at the time, it's like, well, could we do our own? And I'm like, I was like building stuff. And I was like, definitely we could do it. But I was like, it's got to be impossible. There's no way we could. That's a thing. And then the more Tom and I spoke about it, we actually got to the point where, like, you know, we've got all these ideas. We believe we can do it. Let's just do it. So, and PSA were closed anyway. So we were like, you know what, let's just do this. And then started building it. And then I guess like, we didn't necessarily build it thinking it would be something we actually did launch, but then like sort of like week 1, week 2, week 3 started actually getting there. And then, yeah, it just turned into what it is today. Obviously, now at the point of recording this, it's just me and Tom at Ace. But yeah, it's kind of like a wild ride, really. And basically, it was born because we thought we could do it better.
Yeah,
that's yeah.
And I think that out of your pain point there,
Yeah.
you've then grown a business. I'm a great supporter of.
I made a big submission to I remember getting a call saying PSA is going to close. So I was like, oh my god. So I remember submitting loads of cards. Like it was like 2,000 to 3,000 cards that I submitted to PSA at the time. Keep in mind, by the way, it was very cheap back then. Like the price was crazy back then. So I did that, and then I remember I think Ace was like a year and a half into actually being launched and open, and I got my cards back from PSA. So it was like 2.5 years later.
Jesus.
Yeah.
So that pain point. Fast forward now to you as a co-owner of Ace Grading. What would you say are the top 3 pain points that you're suffering with as a co-owner of Ace? 3 pain points. Well, it's the most obvious answer, but it is the capacity and the demand. Basically, that is the number 1 pain point. Beyond that, I wouldn't say there's anything else there. Like we built a great product, built a great brand, and like it's just we love it. You know what I mean? So like I honestly say the biggest pain point is not being able to actually supply the people. And that probably sounds like a cop-out answer, but that is the truth. Beyond that, it's genuinely a joy to dream. You know? Yeah, absolutely. So looking at the bigger picture, what do you think it takes to run a successful grading company, not just in the UK, but globally? Well, what would you define as success? I'd ask. I suppose a success would, well, you're not going to have everyone liking you, that's for sure, because that's a stick you're going to get beaten with, isn't it? Yeah. Let's say if you're, would you consider PSA to be a success? Well, I feel like people would probably kill me for saying this, but yeah, I would see it as a success because I mean they're an absolute massive company. They provide value for millions of collectors, business owners, you know. But then obviously the answer that people would want me to say is no, because they are not delivering on many of the criteria that they want to be. But that's what I'm saying is when I say to you, like, what do you define as success? Because Ace is a very successful company, but we feel like we're losing every single day because we're not able to do what we actually want to do, which is grade more cards, get more capacity to actually provide value to people. Yeah, I mean, it's tough. It's tough.
Would you say it would be on a scale like PSA? Like, would Ace be in everywhere? Like,
that's the goal. The goal is to be number 1, right? The goal for Ace is to be number 1. That's why we do what we do. Like, I don't think I would even be able to do this if I wasn't aiming to be the best. And so, but again, the best does not mean the biggest. You know, it does not absolutely. I think,
of course,
I don't want to say it's impossible to catch PSA, but like, I mean, they're doing 100,000 cards a day at the price point that they're doing it at, and we're at.
And to give you some respect, they've had a 25-year head start on you.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like the goal was never to be bigger than them anyway. The goal was not like, our PSA are closed, let's beat them. It's more so about like, I loved grading cards. I loved being part of that community, and there's nothing I can't send anywhere now. At the time as well, CGC were actually pretty new, and they were not as respected as they are now. And in fact, back then, CGC was better than they are now, in my opinion. The grading was much better, much better quality. But point being, it was PSA and it was CGC basically. Beckett as well. Actually, Beckett was there too, but that was it really. So it's like, well, if I want to grade some cards, where do I even go? It doesn't exist. That's why I was like, well, we've got to do it ourselves. But yeah, I'd say Ace is successful, and the goal with Ace is to try and grow it to be as big as possible, to serve as many people as possible. But beyond all of that, the goal is to just create a company that people like using, and that when we have done that, people do like using Ace. It's just like, it's very, very difficult to actually maintain the growth, really.
And it's the supply versus demand, isn't it? That's what I think, any company that's growing is going to struggle with when that demand outstrips supply.
Yeah. And the market is going nuts. Like, I think people have to remember that the market, it's ridiculous. I've been through many, many, many of these like booms. This is the one, I guess, since like last year and a half. It's just not ending. Like, there's like the Logan Paul hype, there's the Pokemon Go hype, but like this is not the same. It's a whole new industry now. It's just crazy. Really.
So as an influencer and a business owner in this scene, what's your opinion on the Pokemon hobby at the moment?
What's my opinion on the Pokemon hobby? I think it's still great. Like, it is great. The fact that even we're doing this podcast here, chatting about Pokemon, is like, it's like, come on, it brings joy to everyone, whether you're watching content, whether you're on Instagram, whether you're buying a slab, whether you're collecting, whether you're grading, even deciding who I'm going to grade with. That's part of the fun. It's like all this is just fun. So I think the Pokemon hobby is great. I think it's great. We are thriving basically of course, like there's all the issues of supply with Pokemon. There's the issues with stock, with pack prices. But like, again, when you're talking about the success of a I think the success is there for everyone, and also like the hype is there for everyone because we love it, So at its core, I think the hobby is still great, but obviously, of course, there are problems,
Absolutely. And grading at the moment is very much front and center of the TCG space. So what's your take on the grading scene right now?
The grading scene, yeah, it's pretty rough right now, really. But I've never been of the opinion though that people should be told what they can and cannot submit, and that's always been Ace's ethos, right? It's like we've developed a business and a company and a service that actually sort of not benefits, but it sort of, what's the word? Like, it sort of asks people to submit like commons, to, the lesser rare cards because of the label. Like you're able to get a feeling for these cards that you don't get anywhere else. Got some flies in my room. You got you get a feeling for these cards that you don't get from any other company. Like PSA can't do that. They just generally can't do that. Ace gets commons, reverse commons submitted because people want the label, and that's why we've got such a backlog at the minute of label creation. But again, I can't answer like based on like, it's like what is great, it's like what is life, because you've got collectors, you've got people who flip cards, you've got businesses, you've got stores who take. There's so many different like areas of grading. But I would say as well, why is every single company backlogged? Why is every single company in demand? Is because there definitely is a lot of joy in grading cards. And I'll be the first to admit that you shouldn't grade every card. I love keeping buying. I got them there. I love keeping binders. I love raw cards. But there's nothing better than going to a card show or buying a card or packing a card, checking the condition. I don't know, wiping it down if you think it's got like a little scuff on the back of it or whatever. Maybe like just getting it, like then sleeving it up, putting it in a semi-rigid, bull wrapping it, posting it off, waiting for it to come. It's so good, man. It's like so addicting to do that. So
It really is.
grading is like, well, it's not the be all end all, and no one should treat like that. But it's grading's fun,
The serious stuff. So last sort of question from this part from me.
Yeah.
This is purely from a selfish perspective because as an owner of a card care business myself, shout out Curio Card Care if anyone wants to check it out.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to get your take on card restoration or conservation.
Yeah.
On one side of the fence, you're a collector.
Yeah.
And then on the other side of the fence, you're a grading company. So what's your thoughts on it?
Well, I guess first and foremost, I'll say whatever I'm saying here is my opinion. Obviously, even though I am frontman of Ace, obviously Ace is its own thing always. I think that cleaning card, well, there's a difference between altering cards first and foremost and cleaning cards and also restoration. I think all three are different. You've got altering, which is what people have done in the past, where they cut a corner, cut an edge to try and make sure the card can't have any white anymore. That was a big scandal. PSA, CGC had that as well. But that is obviously like, in terms of that's a no for everyone really. Like I wouldn't even support that based on keeping it in my binder. Like at that point, I'd rather my card be damaged than do that. Just feels wrong. Cleaning the card, there's the difference there. Like if you are just good, if you've got a card, even this is now could be taken as an official ace thing. If you've got a card, like of course you're encouraged to get a microfiber cloth, wipe it down. If there's some dirt on it, happens all the time with ace. There's dirt on the card, you get marked down for surface, and everyone's like, "What the hell?" Well, you've got dirt on your card, so just take it off. It might leave a residue, it might leave a scratch, but that's the risk you got to take. And then I guess restoration would be like flattening the cards, would be sort of polishing the cards, getting the scratches out, buffing the scratches out. Which is fine too. Look, if you've got a card and it's raw and you want to make it look better, I've done it in the past. Let's polish the card up. It looks sick now. I think when it comes to grading with Ace, and again, this is people can take it as official if they want, but it's not Ace saying this. If you have your card and you submit the card, and Ace looks at the card and goes, or any grading company goes, actually, I think this has been altered to a point where it's lost its original eye appeal, or it's lost its original sort of integrity, then they might either go, number one, we would reject this, we're going to send it back to you, or you're going to lose the grade for it. You're going to get whatever grade that represents. But at the same time, if you've got your card from point A, which is a bit of dirt on it, potentially a scratch on it, and you have buffed that scratch out and you've wiped the card down, and the grader looks at the card and goes, that looks like we've done our authenticity checks, we've done everything we need to do, and it's now it's just been graded, and they don't, I don't want to say they don't know it's been altered or they don't know it's been cleaned or whatever, but if they go, that looks good to me, then cool. Why would you not do that? Why would you not make your card look better? And so I think hopefully that answers the question. 3 different things there, but ultimately, there's nothing wrong with making your card look better.
Absolutely.
You had the risk, that you got the risk yourself. Then if you send it off and the grading company's like, nah mate, then that's fair. It is what it is. Yeah,
absolutely. The amount of times that cards have been sent off to PSA and they've been genuine and nothing's been done to them and they've got N5 back is it happens. So but no, thank you for that. I appreciate that.
Cool. All right. Well, I suppose we go into the bread and butter of what we're here for now.
Sure.
So ultimately, I'm answering these questions from my basement, Randy. Got to get that in. I've been asked to mention that. So
sure, all good,
why not?
All good.
So the stigma of the hobby with Ace, right, is obviously we see it across multiple influencers, is a PSA 9 is an Ace 10. We've seen the videos. We've seen it multiple times. We've had a lot of people raise the question about that and about the whole centering, obviously, when we know your stance, but with everything going on. It was my belief before everything that was said this week that you may have gone, you know what, the 1 million cert, let's do 45-55 and just tackle that and get it out the way.
Mm-hmm.
Do you not believe that would be probably like the strongest thing you could do right now to like quash a lot of what's going on?
No, I don't believe it would be the strongest thing at all. It's the same thing with people say like, oh, why don't you just do black label? Like, I'll be honest, first and foremost, people say these things, everyone online, right? Say you should do this, you should do that, you should try that. If we followed everything that we saw, if we followed the norm or the popular comment or the popular trend, then we would not be where we are now. We would have no integrity. We would have no stance on what we believe to be true for a grading company. And I don't want to call names on other grading companies, but we would become the new grading companies that are there in the UK, where all they seem to do is take all the popular things that Ace don't do well and put it in there. Like all they do is like follow comments based on what Ace should do. There's no integrity there, Like if me and Tom wanted to start this business and we believe grading should be done in the way that we believe it should be done, why would we ever bend on that? Do you know what I mean? And that's not me referencing centering, because I'll tell you one thing. When we started, the industry standard was 60-40, and I will tell you this as well. If me and Tom had it our way, we would have done 55-45. That's the way we wanted it to be from the start. But the industry standard was 60-40. PSA, many people don't know this because there's a lot of people who are new to grading. People don't know that PSA changed their standards. What was like 100 million cards later, they changed their standards. So it's like, it puts Ace in a tough spot, because it's like, well, either we change the centering and it's sort of what do you do then with all the 1 million cards graded before it? Are they void now? Do Ace still back them? What happens with those? Or do you make the change and also run the risk of pissing everyone off who's already graded with you, and also just like, I think Ace, no matter what you think about Ace's grading standards, I think it's very strong. I'm very, very biased, but I think it's and also I know that sort of inside of Ace, I know the head of grading, I know how they keep, and by the way, just so everyone clear, I keep away from the grading, nothing to do with me at Ace, but he's so passionate, the team are incredibly passionate, the consistency checks are unreal, the training that they put into getting the graders from, new employee to pass in is immense, so we would feel sick to our stomach if our grading standard would change over time. And centering is a big part of that, you know. So I can't tell you that we are going to change it. I can't tell you that we're not going to change it. But what I will say, people got to have a little bit of understanding that when we started this business, the industry standard was 60/40, and everyone else bent. Everyone else changed their standards, you know. So changing standards for me is like a very, very, very tricky thing to do. But I don't think that would have helped the situation. No, I think that would be bending to people what they want. And then also, I have done business for a long time to know that not everyone knows what they want, you know, and whether that's true or not, I'm not saying that everyone's wrong either. I'm just saying that if you're leading a company and you're running a company, you have to be confident in what you're doing. And if you buckle at any given point, you just look weak, you know. And when I say you look weak, it's not an embarrassment thing. It's about, why would people trust you? Why would people think that you're a reputable company to submit cards if every other week you just bending? But you know what I mean? That's sort of the stance on it. But I don't think it would fix anything. And also, I don't agree with people when they talk about the values of stuff. I don't believe the centering is even part of that. There are times I will tell you, by the way, 60/40, if you're on the brink of it, remember, you could be 0.1% in 60/40, or you could be 0.1% out of 60/40, and it would look the same. So there are cards that look off center, but they're quote unquote not in the standards, and there are cards that looks, you might think that's slid it, and it also hasn't. There's also cards that don't have a yellow border. There's cards that have got weird borders that, you know, when you mathematically work it out, actually it's censored. For example, the Hidden Fates cards, they all look off because the border is measured from the edge of the black line, not the black line. So all this kind of stuff goes into it. But, and also age, we measure the cards, you know. So it's like some, you know, I'm sure there are cases where it's been incorrect. You know, I think that's just, every grading company has to sort of live by that. Otherwise, you'd never get any cards sort of out the door ever. But you know, there's cards that look off center, but they're not, you know. So, you know, whether 60/40 is sort of the right way or not, is as we are here today, Ace's standards, I don't think it would fix anything, you know. That's my honest opinion.
That's fair enough. I mean, that's what we want, is an honest opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, as a business, obviously, I will take Ace cards. And I'll be straight with you. I've never graded with Ace, but I will recommend customers to grade with Ace based on those factors. Based on, and unfortunately, as many businesses out there will tell you, and as many vendors will tell you, if it doesn't look like it'll PSA 10, the joke is it will Ace 10. And
well, the funny thing about that, though, is what I'll say is that how do I, those who are new into grading as well, new to Ace, like it also has been for a long time the other way around. Like, I used to go to America and vended over there with Ace slabs, and they would all they would do, the big PSA collectors, all they would do is come to my booth, buy all my Ace 9s, and go get PSA 10s. And that would happen all the time, you know. And again, because PSA change their standards all the time, you know, and Ace stays. So, you know, people who go and buy PSA 9 to crack it to get an Ace 10, it also happens the other way around. Often, it happens with every grading company. I can't say how many times people buy CGC 8s and go and get PSA 10s. You know, it happens all the time. You know, all these grading companies have different standards, have different definitions on what they think is a 10 and what is not a 10, and you can do it with all of them, both ways around. You know, so.
No, that's fair. That's fair. In regards to, obviously, prices of Ace slabs, we've obviously we've been sent we've been sent stuff, and we know, obviously, you've been on a buying spree prior to this announcement on eBay, buying up some Ace 10s in regards to potentially, obviously, this news breaking from yourself.
Nothing to do with. We buy cards on eBay every day. We buy it every day.
Okay.
We would buy. There's no connection there, you know. In fact, there's less connection. I've been buying less because I've been busy doing all that stuff.
Okay, fair enough. But how do you see the prices of Ace slabs in regards to this news? Because obviously the consensus online is 50-50. They believe that with these price hikes, it's going to see Ace slabs go up because now it's more expensive to grade, a la PSA. And there's other people going, no, it's going to be another race to the bottom, people getting out of it because there's what they perceive as no value in it anymore.
I think the value of a card, let alone a graded card, is like down to the market. You know what I mean? Like you can never really. There are people out there, I'll be honest, who in America, they do manipulate the market, like genuinely, like TCG players, buyouts and stuff. But in reality, it does take a long time for the market to change. So nothing, especially in 24 hours or whatever, will change. It'll take weeks, months, years for things to change like that. I think like PSA, for example, the reason the modern cards are worth so much at PSA at the minute is because it costs so much to grade. So when a brand new set comes out, it genuinely costs so much to grade that card, and you'll get a value charge. Like Charizard, for example, from Phantasmal Flames, like I think that was like a $300 value charge off the rip. So what happens is people get these cards, they pack them, they grade them on the super fast express, whatever it's called at PSA, spend $600, maybe another $300 for value charge. So they're $900 into that card. If they want to go sell that, they have to put $900 into the price of the card. Whether that's if they packed it and they got lucky and got a $4 pack, and then they got in America what, $10, I don't know. And it gets a 10. They got to be at least $900 into that before they can make any money on it. If they bought it raw, it's this kind of stuff. And then also what they do in America is someone will shut it, so they'll list it on eBay, someone will buy it. That becomes the comp, and that is the price, which is mental. By the way, I'm very, very sort of confused at how we've got this far in the market, in the hobby, where all we do is just believe one sale on eBay. It's generally mental, but that becomes the price. And then from there on out, everyone will either undercut or but in America, there's so much business in America. There are so many people out there that price will work for them a lot. And also, unfortunately, there's so many people out there that want that Charizard card, so they'll go and buy it. So that sets the comp, right? Now, if you look at Ace, especially now, pre-price change or post-price, it actually doesn't matter, It was £60 luxury for 2 days, so £50 luxury for 2 days, and now it's £120 for 2 days. Neither of those prices right there will actually have that same effect that it has on the PSA Charizard, because neither of those prices are anywhere near $900. There's no value charge at Ace. It's just £120 and you get it back, right? Now, if someone obviously, say a new set comes out, Phantasmal Flames, I'll use that example again, and there's a Piplup card, right? And that card, someone wants to grade that with Ace, pre or post price change, and they want to get it back within 2 days and be the first person to set the price on the market, then they'll do that, and they've got to think about the grading fee, right? But I think the difference between the US and the UK is that in the US, there are tens of thousands of stores or businesses out there that will offer up liquidity for those cards. In the UK, it's so different. In the UK and Ace, it's all, in my opinion, majority of people, it's people. And even if it's a store, it's a small time store or a hobby store. So it's in the UK, it's a race to the bottom so fast. Like everyone, all they do is undercut each other to get to the bottom. So the price drops very, very fast. Now, if there were more businesses, more stakeholders in Pokemon, that wouldn't happen, because people would go out there and they'd buy the card for the price that it's at the top, and they'd need more and more and more. We'll probably see that in the UK happen later this year, towards the next year. I think people in the UK are starting to mature now. But the UK basically just needs liquidity for the prices to be stable. The UK needs liquidity. It needs businesses out there that are and people out there that are actually able to buy these cards for a profit, if that makes sense. So the price changes with Ace, like it will or may not change the value of Ace slabs, but what will change the price of Ace slabs is how many people are out there needing those cards for their business. That's the only thing that will actually change the price. Now, again, because what happened in the UK, sure, maybe these new prices means that someone's got to pay £120 to get it first to market. But then you got 7 days really to get the next tier, which is ultra at £60. Like, so then someone can, in that time, right, of 5 days, if a card does get onto the market and they have to add £120 to that, someone's going to undercut them in max 5 days. There's not enough people out there that need these cards in the UK than full stop. So I don't really think I don't think this will change the price of Ace slabs too much in terms of price itself. The other, so that's number one. The other side of it is people being, I think one of the worries of the price change is that people think that this is going to drop the price of Ace slabs. Therefore, because everyone's nervous, there's like a nervousness around. Oh, now there's price have changed. No one wants Ace anymore. Again, we always see this with everything in life. There's always like a vocal minority. This announcement. The announcement itself won't change the price of slabs. The market isn't. There's not enough people to actually change that. If that makes sense. So even with Ace, we see it all the time where people say stuff online. What actually matters is those who use the submission day in, day out. Even a guy on the Discord today was like, hey guys, when are spots open up again? I've not submitted in a year, and everyone's like, bro, you not heard the price change? You not heard the news? There's still people out there that don't know what's going on, and that's the market. That is the market. The market is day in, day out. People going to card shops, opening cards, packing stuff, going to card shows at the weekend. That is still the majority of the market. Not everyone's on Instagram. Not everyone's on Discord. Not everyone is as close to the news as we are here. So I don't think there's no doubt in my mind Ace price will not drop because of this. There will be people who will list their slabs for a lower percentage right now to get rid of them because they're nervous about the news. You'll have someone like me buy them all. I'll buy them all. This is one guy already was like, I want to get rid of my whole PC. I was like, cool. I'm at Yorkshire Car Show this weekend. Come through. I'll buy them all. Then later is actually, I back Ace. It changes his mind within 2 hours. So a lot of these kind of, I'm not trying to say that the price reaction is an emotional one, but emotions themselves don't change markets. Basically, by the way, it's all my opinion. It's only my opinion. I'm just one guy. But I'm very astute to what goes on in the Pokemon world. I've been doing it very many years. I've been buying, selling cards forever. I've been collecting cards forever. PSA, I've done it back in the days before Ace was a thing as well. So I've usually, I'm not saying I'm never wrong, but I've been very successful. So I feel like I've got a good ear to the market. But also, who cares, right? Ace has never been based on that. It doesn't change Ace's mentality. If the market goes up, market goes down, cool. End of the day, 6 stabs, 6 label, good grading, boom, and that's what it's all about. But to answer the prices thing, price change, value of slabs is all down to how many people can buy and sell something. It's just liquidity, So I think it's irrelevant. That makes sense. Like, I don't think this price change will raise or drop the prices. What will be, will be. And I think what will change instead is the actual market, which is why, by the way, you've probably got some questions later on. A lot of people really hate on the whatnot market, the slab streams, whatever it may be, but that actually is a really, really, really big sort of engine for Ace out there. It's huge, it's distribution. Basically, any company out there has to get their product to the masses on whatnot, whether people like it or not. People are buying slabs because they want them, and that's going into the market. Someone buys a card on whatnot, goes into they receive it at their house, they go to a card show, they trade it for something else. That's just it's the ecosystem, So in the UK, there's not a very good ecosystem, I'll be honest. Even PSA, by the way, people love to go. PSA is worth so much more than Ace. In the UK, it's not, There's so many examples. I'm looking at all the time. I see a card in America sell for £1.4 thousand. In the UK, it sells for £1,000. Same card, But it depends who in the UK is buying them. There are a lot of people that in the UK buy slabs to go to America to sell them for more. It's just like, it's weird that the UK is in its infancy. It's so early in Pokemon and in grade and in all of it, and which is why we're seeing this now. Because, and again, I'll be honest, people might say this is a cocky approach or something, but without Ace in the UK, the market wouldn't be one. So it's like, I don't know. Like, I think for us with Ace and for collectors in the UK, I think like Ace is only a good thing. It's only a good thing for the Ace collectors. It's only a good thing for the PSA collectors. The stronger the Ace market is, the stronger the market is in general. And that is sort of, I'm very happy to be a part of that. I'm very happy that Ace can be something that people use for their businesses, for their enjoyment, whatever it may be. I'm very proud that they can call it a part of it. And the Ace market is so mature now. It doesn't really matter what other companies are. Like, there's a market in Ace. If that is 60% of PSA price, that is 8% of that's what it is, And there's now a market for Ace. That's why back in the day when I was doing my vendor videos in America, I would price at PSA because there was no comps for Ace. It didn't exist, And I'm obviously, founder of Ace. I'm not going to go there and say my cards are worse than PSA because I don't think they are, and I'm not going to sell them for less. So I used to sell them for PSA prices, and people still to this day have a go at me for that. But now I don't do that. Now I price at Ace price because there is a market for Ace. However, if there's no comp for Ace, I'll put it PSA and it will sell for that, So you can only price your cards based on what the last card sold for, but that in itself, I think, is pretty flawed because that's what one person paid for it. Someone might buy it for higher, but some people in the UK just choose to list it low. Anyway, I've gone on a rant there, but hopefully that answers the original question. The price, I don't think I'll change the price.
We're not unaware of rants when it comes to this podcast, so don't worry, you're fine.
Sure.
Unless you wanted to add anything, Dan, I just wanted to ask a quick question, actually, because you made a really interesting point there about the UK market and being in its infancy. What's your, obviously the data, you look at data a lot and you have your eyes everywhere in this. So I'd be really interested to get your opinion on that. Where do you think it's going then? Do you think it's going to expand? It's going to mature?
Yeah, I think it's going to mature. But I think it's only going to mature if people let it mature. I'm not sure on your guys' opinion on that. I've only seen brief moments of the podcast, but it's like people, I put an Instagram video up today saying this, people always love to point fingers in the UK. And I don't mind that, by the way. And also I want to say, like, your guys' content is often very, you're talking about takes, so your opinion can be whatever it be, and like the entertainment value in your podcast is going on these rants, so it's completely fine. I don't watch these and go, these guys fucking hate me. I watch these and go, like, I can't change another opinion. Not saying that any publicity is good publicity, but like, I watch these videos as a viewer of the grading world, not as like owner of Ace. This fucking sucks, So that's fine. But I think that it's like in the UK, everyone loves to point fingers and just go, that person sucks as it is, that person sucks as that. In America, they don't have that. In America, they all, because they're Americans and they're crazy, they all have this like I don't want to call it capitalistic. They'll have this like, I'm the best, I'm doing what I'm doing, and they're happier about these things. In the UK, we look at people and we get jealous of them. We point fingers at them and go, why are they doing that? So I'm talking about, for example, Whatnot. I'm talking about eBay. I'm not trying to say I've got a massive love in my heart for Whatnot. I'm just trying to say that like these businesses are what actually matures the business, the market. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So like to grow the market, And so for these cards to be higher priced in value, you need companies actually buying and selling them. That's what you need, you know? That's why I get stressed. People will ask me, why are you doing so many whatnot streams or whatever? I wish there was other people doing it. I genuinely wish that someone could do random cards or whatever it may be way better than I can do it. So that it's not just me, you know, it's that other one. I sit back then but like to mature the market, you have to provide value to people. And that's what these companies do, you know, whether you like them or not, people are out there creating a market. The market cannot exist. No, we gotta watch my words here. It cannot exist with just collectors, if that makes sense. There is no market if you're just a collective. Everyone just buys cards, binders, slabs, keeps them in their binder. There's no market, but people really do confuse the term collector with someone who doesn't like to make money. That's what Pokemon always has been like. Even when I was 6 years old, I was packing a card, selling it, and buying a new one. It's just a recycling of cards, you know. In my binders, I've got my cards that I like, and the ones that I don't like, I sell them on. Same thing with grading, you know. It's just how it works. So I think we should look at these companies. And by the way, if someone is acting not appropriately, I think the Rosie's Pokemon stuff is a good example. Like people actually stood up for that. I was like, this is a bang out of order, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing that they did that. And I think we should do that collectively. People who are making a mockery of the hobby, they need to be told that, and there needs to be something done about that. But then those who are simply just sort of making money, if that makes sense, that's not in itself a bad thing, you know. We've got to support that kind of stuff if it's done right. I think that should be like the radar for good and bad should be whether someone's good or bad, not because of what they're doing. And it gets convoluted so much. Like even I understand the connection between the rank card streams and Ace because of the conflict of interest side of things. I get that part, but I don't get there's no discrimination on someone actually running a slab stream with 300 slabs. If they've graded them, then fair play, you know. And well, I'm sure we'll get into that later, you know, all the rumors of backdoors into A's. But I'm saying in general, there's nothing inherently wrong with someone on stream doing 300 slabs, and that is my point to get to, and that is what grows a market. You know what I mean? That in itself is what grows it. So if we want the market to be better, if we want the price to go up, then we have to actually be part of the hobby. You know, that's how it works. And rather than pointing fingers at people, sorry, just to answer that. So we are in that infancy. Only if people take a stand and actually start doing good stuff, running good businesses, running good. And again, don't get it twisted. When I say business, I'm not trying to act like someone's Jeff Bezos out there, all they want to do is make money. There could be a business. This podcast is a business, you know. There's a family out there who quit their day job to now go and sell cars. That's a business too. So when I say business, I'm not trying to act like these people out there that are sort of evil people. I'm trying to say to for the market to grow and to mature, we have to mature as a hobby and actually celebrate people doing good things, basically. So yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about the pricing announcement. So how did that announcement sit within what your expectations were to sit within your community versus the reality?
I'll be honest, there were no surprises in the slightest on how the reaction went down. In fact, I thought it went better than it did, which might be surprising to a lot of people. But I've been telling Ace internally, I've been telling the teams, been telling the staff, this will be a bloodbath. You have to go into it knowing that. Don't get disheartened when you read the comments. Don't get disheartened. We knew this was no one's going to ever celebrate this kind of thing. But for a company, you have to go forward with doing what you think is right. If we didn't think it was right, we wouldn't have done it in the first place. When we do make the announcement and we do push forward to it, it's not that we don't listen to feedback or don't look at the communities out there. We do see it all. But we knew the reaction was not going to be great. And me, first and foremost, I've been doing YouTube and content online forever. You know, I'm no stranger to being ridiculed, laughed at, and stuff. So you have to, especially if you're a leader of something, you have to stay confident. You know, and those staff members, those teams look towards you for like guidance on it. So you know, if I look weak, if I you know sort of falter on sort of the mission, then they will too. So yeah, the reaction has been exactly how we thought it was going to go down. It's never nice though. It's never nice. You know, you sort of maybe the volume, I wasn't expecting it. I wasn't expecting that fast everywhere. But the reaction went exactly how I thought it was going to go. Basically,
okay, fair. Well, I'll give you credit, Randy. Obviously, you interact. You are everywhere. Like I go into anyone's comments online, including ours, and I see you interacting, and it does. I'll be honest, and this is going to upset a few people close to me, but it does bring a smile to my face. So I'm like, oh, he's listened, he's watched it. Yeah. Be it me ranting about something to do with Ace or whatever, you know, in the day.
You should do that. You should rant all day, you know, and even after this podcast, I don't want people to think watch this and go, oh man, I wish they were fucking fighting each other.
Just wait, it's coming.
Sure.
But no, but no, like the genuine thing is that I can separate a business from a person. Like at the end of the day, you as a person is separate to you as a business. Okay. Yeah. With regards to that, obviously, being active during this is obviously, like you just said, it's a fucking bloodbath.
Yeah.
Why the fuck don't you have a PR team?
Well, when you say PR team, what what do you mean? Because we have a marketing team. We have people involved in Ace that have these discussions.
But you are obviously, you're the brand. You are Ace. You are Rand. You are everything to do with that company, right?
Yeah.
Surely that, and I said this online. I was like, when Ace does an announcement, I then have to follow you across different social media channels to understand what that announcement is, right? A PR team, naturally, and trust me, I'm fucking the worst person to be talking about PR because I am I'm a walking bomb.
Yeah, that's correct.
But it's literally like in these situations, surely it would be more concise to just go, right, here's the Ace channel. We're going to talk about it on here. Instead, you do the announcement on the Ace and then, right, Randolph Pokémon on Insta. Here's you talking about it. Then I go on to X and you're going onto a long form on there, multiple posts. Surely keep it in one place, man. And it's just going to be like, right, that's where the fucking heat is. And you can just like be off in the background.
It's like, what's the goal though? Is the goal to look good, or is the goal to like deliver a service for people out there? You know, so like, yeah, I mean, even now we've got a newer marketing team, and we have people, and this is being built every day. You know, it's one thing about Ace that people don't realize is we are hiring all the time. Like we've gone from literally 25 staff members to 130. We've got 15 more graders that are on the way to start training next week. You know, in the next month. So it's like it's nonstop. So and with that is marketing as well. So now we're at a stage in Ace where it's like a growth slash scale stage. So we're now bringing in sort of senior leadership staff members, and with that we brought a head of marketing in. You know, so there's a head of marketing that came into Ace as well. He's building the team out as well. So we do have people there, and that is maturing, and obviously that will be stronger in 3 months than it is today, and that'll be stronger in a year than it is today. Maybe we will bring in a PR team, maybe not, but like for as long as I am sort of in the position I am at in Ace, it'll always be raw, because the goal is not to be liked. You know, when you say PR, it's like we're not a business to sit here to be liked. We're a business that's here to be used. You know, so for me, I'm trying to reach as many people as possible. You know, so that's the reason you see Ace do what Ace does, and then on the announcement. I mean, you notice this time there was not me on that announcement. That was purposely done by Ace. Back in the day, maybe 6 months ago, that would have been me. You know, but now it's not. Now Ace does the announcements. I did do a video on Ace yesterday. That was more to sort of like steady the ship, because I was worried about those who are nervous about Ace. I was worried about those who are nervous about this, those who are supporting of Ace, thinking actually, you know what, everyone's slagging Ace off at the minute. I'm going to step back. I was worried about those people, so I'm doing a video to make sure that ship gets steadied. But in terms of the sort of approach on, you got Ace, then you got Randolph Pokémon. I am not Ace, you know, so I can say things. For example, I can go on Randolph Pokémon and say, actually, guys, look at the PSA price, look at the Ace price. You know, in terms of the submission cost, you know, it's still night and day. I haven't made that video yet, but I can do that. I would never do that on Ace. I would never ever use PSA's name on Ace to do that. That's Randolph. That's the beauty we've got. You know, I can sit here as me and give my honest opinion. But Ace has its own opinion as well. And even though we are closely linked, we're not the same. But with that being said, I'm sure PSA have got a PR team, and look how that goes down, you know? So it's like, well, we're delivering bad news. Are we trying to deliver bad news and then soften the blow, or are we just trying to deliver news that is real? You know, that's what we're trying to do, right? So, and like, I don't hide behind anything, and I don't hide behind Ace. I don't want the staff to hide behind anything, if that makes sense. I will always take the brunt of everything, but I'm not trying to say that, like, I want them to follow in that way. I want them to be confident in what they're doing. So yeah, I mean, of course we could make one big announcement, but then again, PSA do that, and look how it goes for them. I am also stubborn. So I you know, even if it's the wrong approach and people think it's the wrong approach, which they do, I'm like, you know, I think it's the right thing. And if you want someone to lead, that's what you got to do. You know, you got right or wrong, you got to move forward. So that's what we're doing. But I think, look, I've put that video on, Ace put that video on Twitter. Someone quote tweeted it with a bunch of hate. It got 1 million views now. It's 1 million people. And you have to understand, in marketing and in this world, I'm not trying to say that there is no such thing as bad publicity, because there is, especially in a company like Ace where it's built on trust. There is. But that trust comes from the realness, you know. So they see me on Discord. I was on Discord till midnight, you know, and I woke up and I was back on Discord at 5 a.m. and the messages still flying through, and I'm replying to them. Even the head of marketing is like, "Why are you doing this to yourself? What, like, it can't be good." But I'm like, you know, if I write a response and someone sees it and they feel at ease with that, then I like that. And also playing with trolls and haters, I don't mind that either, because I actually enjoy doing that. But also it's like they see that, and they you know, whether you like Ace or not, at least you know that we're here. You know, we actually are here. PSA, who the hell's there? No idea. You know, I think that they're trying to fix that, but like. No, Ace always raw and real, you know. So yeah, like, even if we had a PR team, I'd still disagree with it anyway. So what's the point?
Fair enough. Answers that question, to be fair.
Yeah.
So who is it that keeps you in check then, Randy?
Who is it that keeps me in check? Whew. Well, there is the team, obviously. There's a team. There's Tom there. They do keep me in check, but I think, you know, it's not the Wild West, but I remember I saw a video from you guys actually where you're like, you know, these influencer companies, as soon as he fucks off them, but I am Ace, you know what I mean? Like, there's no me leaving, you know. I think people would be surprised. I'm not sure which way is better. Are people thinking that I've got more control in Ace than I do, or people think I've got no control? I don't know which is better, but I'm I'm a massive part of Ace, you know, and that's for the benefit of it, because that's why we got such a good product, you know.
To be fair, sorry, Rich, before
No,
you
carry on, mate.
go on to the next question, I'm glad you raised that, because again, it's something that does need to be answered, because again, you are right. To preface this, I've watched your content from back in the day. Like before this boom cycle, I've launched 2 Pokemon store businesses, and I watched your content, thoroughly enjoyed it. The Sideman stuff, like the whole thing, because again, I live vicariously through YouTube content. So you going to Japan with Viv, Bav, KB, Kev, all that lot. I see that world and go, holy shit, that's cool.
Yeah.
You know, so there is content out there that you do that I thoroughly enjoy. But obviously, off the back of that, as an influencer-led company, you are the punch bag and you are the face. So the question will be raised, like, would Ace be as strong without you in the lead? Like, if hypothetically, if you went, right, fuck it, I'm taking 6 months out, I'm taking a year out, I am backing off from Ace. Okay. Is there someone strong enough right now in Ace that could lead in your stead? If you went,
of course, yeah. I would not worry about that. I would not worry about that in the slightest. You know, Ace is now at a point where the staff are, you know, I mean, we created grading in the UK. You know, there's no graders. When we started the company, you can't go and hire a grader. It doesn't exist. We had to birth that, you know. And now, this many years in, there's a lot of leaders at Ace that could do that. There's no problem. Ace would survive and it would thrive that way, no problem. But I think there's also a part of it where, you know, for example, the prices would have changed way before now if I was not there. That's just a fact, you know. That's why I sit so calm in these moments now. People go, oh, why are you going 140% increase? You know, which first and foremost is not 140%. One tier maybe, but the whole thing's not. But it would have been done way before that. I mean, even the break-in, right? After the break-in, we were popular. We were getting so much demand. We didn't change the prices because it was not the right time to do that then, you know. But we would have done. Back then, if it was not that moment in time, the price would have changed 3, 4, 5 times. They haven't. We've held on as long as physically possible, which is why the price change right now is so steep, because like it should have been done time and time and time again. But again, so that's what I'm saying. Is like if a leadership team, if a business team ran Ace, it would be way different than it is now, because people look at the balance sheet, right? They look at the balance sheet, they look at the numbers, and that's what they follow. That is genuinely what they follow. Ace, we don't follow that because I'm in charge, you know, and Tom's in charge, and we've got the team there built by collectors for collectors. As cringe as that is, that's the fact, you know. So it's like, I think a lot of people think there's a lot of worries that people have with me being in the position that I'm at Ace, but like, you got to remember, without me be holding it down, it'd be you know, it'd be business, it'd be corporatized, you know. It's what it would be, you know. So I think, again, that's why there's no PR team. Well, you know, there's a marketing team, but that's why there is. End of the day, I do what I do, because whether you like me or don't like me, you know it's real. You know, you just know it's real. So it's like, that's important to me and Ace.
but do you not fear the one bad day situation?
What's
like literally something comes out, like whatever. Like, I'm not saying there's any skeletons in your closet at the end of the day. I'm not trying to insinuate that, but everyone is one bad day away from something happening that makes you go, shit, this is over.
But yeah, well, man, we got through the break-in, right? Like, we thought it was over. We genuinely thought that was over, you know, and we got through it. And that's not just down to me. It's not just down to the team. That's down to the community as well, you know, pulling us through it. But at the same time, like, I think that was a big, by the way, big turning point for Ace. I don't want to say for the better, but like, at that point then, like, everyone dropped anything that they were doing and just went. I haven't, I mean, bro, since that moment, I've been non-stop, you know. I haven't. It's ruined me. It's basically ruined me, you know. I am a completely different person than I was back then, and that's due to that. But what it did do, it was sort of, so, well, yeah, that one bad day you're talking about, you can get through that day. And with anything in life, not just company, not just business, any bad day, there's always a way. There's always a way. They always say, what, rock bottom's like a trampoline, right? That's what it is, you know. As soon as you hit that moment, you know, right, I know what direction I'm in. It actually gives you more direction. With Ace, it gave me more direction than ever before, because I'm like, well, there's nowhere to go now but up, so that's what we're going to do. So sure, I'm human. Ace is human. Like, what bad thing can happen, you know, because the next day we're going to go again, you know. That's why the price change as well. Like, cool, yeah, this has happened. We're going to be there tomorrow. We're going to be there in 3 weeks. We're going to be there in a year. Like, we're going to keep moving forward. So, but yeah, and also, by the way, Ace is bigger than me now by far, you know. So it's like, well, if someone ever wants to come and run this, then fair play. You know, I'm not going to stand in their way, and also I'm not going to, well, maybe I would stand in their way, but I'm saying I'm not too I don't think highly of myself enough that I know that there's other people that can run it better than I can. So that's what I'm trying to say. I don't think I'm bigger than Ace, but I do know that there's a period of time that I have to stand here and carry it through, because again, if someone got their paws on Ace, they would turn it into Ace is a very successful business, and they would look at that and go, wow, look at this, let's do that, let's do this, let's put the price up, let's do it, all non-stop.
So in regards to the actual announcement, we put questions out to followers to see what they wanted to write in, so that we were able to give you balanced questions. And a lot of followers actually complained about the lack of customer service, delays to orders, and no way to contact Ace. How do you plan to address this from June the 1st?
Well, we are growing this customer service team all the time. I mean, again, just to paint a picture on how these kind of businesses work, like it's very hard to it's like a cat and mouse thing, right? Like, we'll get into like the turnaround times and stuff in a sec, I guess. But in terms of customer service, how do I say, like internally, I don't know what people think that happens. I don't think no one sits at Ace and looks at the screen of like 500 emails and goes, nah, I'm not gonna tackle that. We are on it, we're on it non-stop. If people are doing overtime, the customer service staff are coming in early every day. And by the way, I'm talking to them daily, and they're like, oh, it's so difficult, but I want to get on top of it. They're there working to get on top of it, So to from June the 1st to get on top of it, what is our goal? Add more staff, add more customer service teams. We've got a new system that we put in place. We're trying to get leaner. We're trying to find ways that we can actually disperse emails, so people can get answers quicker. Nothing worse with emails than when someone has got a genuine problem and you can't get to them because you're answering stuff like, how much does the label cost? This kind of stuff. So we want to try and get ways to get that information fed back to them sooner. I know everyone hates the AI answer, but I don't know, is there ways we can get the FAQ to a better point where all this information is available for them? So then when someone is stuck, we can get there. There's times where, I don't know, with Ace, there's sometimes issues with two-factor. Someone gets their account locked and they can't pay their invoice because the two-factor's there. We want to fix that stuff. There's a text team, but when the tech team are working on X, they can't work on Y. So all I can say to you, then the goal is to continually grow the business and grow the teams. But like, there is no one sat there thinking, nah, screw this, I'm not answering that. The effort's there, I don't know. And also, even with like the ways we fix things, there's goodwill credit that we apply to people's accounts, all these kind of things that happen, So yeah, we are on it, and all I can ask for people is just give us your confidence and patience, and we'll do our very, very best. Sometimes that very best is not good enough. Just point being, but like, if we knew we were going to get 1,000 emails, we'd hire ahead of time. That makes sense. So yeah, it's tough.
There doesn't seem to be, and I'm going to play devil's advocate here though. There doesn't seem to be a uniform approach in regards to your customer service though, because we've had people reach out that have had one response from one customer service rep, and then they've gone in Discord. And I know obviously you had at one stage 2 members of the customer service team purely for Discord before obviously the service closed, and then they would get different information from them. So one would say no, one would say yes. I mean, how do you? Is that something that you can plan on fixing? Yeah,
there's a customer service team, and they all sit together at the office, so they're all in-house. They're all next to each other. So I'd say that team is definitely, aligned and everything. In the Discord, we have mods that are not even Ace staff members that probably will answer stuff. Sometimes they shouldn't answer stuff, but again, like, every little helps in terms of getting a response to someone. That could be different to what is sort of aligned. We've got a new community manager, CJ. So he actually came in to Ace a while back and did some part-time work to help with tickets. That was back in the day we were sort of really, really swamped on tickets. So a few of the mods came in and helped Ace part-time. He's there full-time now as a community manager. So his job is to be on Discord, is to be on the Facebook groups, is to be out there trying to like figure out stuff that we wouldn't see, because not everyone actually asks a question on customer service. Some people say it on Discord, on Facebook. So his job is to go intersect that and try and give it to the customer service and the leadership team before it gets to a point that is a problem. I can't answer necessarily why the team's not as aligned as it could be, because I am, I don't know as much as the customer service team does. They know more than I do on many things, which is why I could say something wrong in Discord, but it's sort of like, if I do it, then I know that that's sort of like, it's my responsibility. Whereas if another staff member says something that they shouldn't do, that's on them. So it's a little bit of a different thing. But yeah, I can't say why you get one answer and a different one from somewhere else. But I also say there's many different instances, not one issue is the same. So sometimes, and also time changes. So by the way, I appreciate your feedback, and I want to state here as well, I am never satisfied with Ace either. So as much as but there's a disconnect in terms of like the team and the reality. Like, every staff member at Ace is honestly like busting a gut to do what they can to grow Ace and to help with the backlogs and help with the customer service. So I think people have to always remember that there's no one at blame. If there's someone to blame me. But at the same time, like, they are trying their very best. And that's all I can say. You know, there's no evil power at Ace not wanting to push things forward, I guess is my point. So yeah, I can only apologize if people are getting different answers. And that is, by the way, that was maturing. You know, like, don't forget, like we were a company of 20 people, and now we're a company of 130 people. That in itself has challenges. So we'll get there. You know, we'll get better. But again, that's why it's really important that myself and Tom are sort of the people behind Ace, because yeah, not just PSA. I don't want to keep comparing to them, but there's so many corporate companies out there that don't really have that. It's very important to be a founder-led company. It's so important to have founders running the company, because we genuinely care, you know. And I know it sounds super like a company saying, "Oh, we care," but we do, you know, more than someone else who's just approached that as a job, you know. And that will never change. You never ever have. You find it a lot in businesses where the owner is always the person that is, you know, not staying late, but the mentality of staying late, because it's their baby, right? So you can never care more than the owner. So when the customer service is not on point, like I don't sit there and go, ha ha, but I will also back my staff. That makes sense. Like I'm not, if someone's having a go at them on Discord or wherever it may be, I'm not going to look weak in front of that staff member. So I will be like, look, this is what they're doing. They're doing their very best. Give them a chance, because I don't want that staff member to get affected, you know? So that's what I say. Like, sort of, we are trying to improve and we take all feedback on, but you know, it's tough, man, because, you know, at the same time as customer service needs work, label creation needs work. At the same time, that needs work. You know, we need to grow the capacity. All this stuff goes in unison, you know. So we get there, you know.
Yeah. No, I'm a big proponent of praise in public, and obviously you discipline in private.
Yep.
So, yeah. Right. PSA buyback controversy.
Yep.
You mentioned it earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Rand cards, close association to Ace. Now, as you can imagine, you see it daily. I imagine your inbox is filled with it. You know,
yeah.
We see the ads. We see Bav. We see KB doing the
Yep.
ads for Rand cards, saying they sold their collection to you. Have
Mm-hmm.
they? You know, at the end of the day, we know who they are, and we know what we know.
Yeah.
I appreciate you've said it's not a conflict of interest, but in the wider scheme of the internet, it bloody well seems like it. Like, you can't, you know. I would be remiss if I didn't say you aren't copying or looking like you're copying the PSA playbook to a fucking T, Randy, like in regards to that aspect. Because again, you mentioned about using Whatnot and capitalizing on that to sell slabs. You know, it's not just my positioning, it's majority of the internet. You can walk into Ace tomorrow, pay grading at cost because you're the owner, right? You know how much the manufacturing costs. You know how much it costs for a member of staff to grade the cards. And then suddenly you have 4,000 slabs for your streams, okay? Average Joe doesn't have that. You know, they are waiting on a queue. So when there's genuine discourse in regards to people with 7 day, you know, they're 7 days over a 7 day turnaround, or they're 10 days over a 10 day turnaround. And they're vitriolic, you know, they're in your Discord, they're in your DMs, they're calling you every name under the sun. And then suddenly a Rand card stream, be it you, be it one of your streamers, is suddenly, oh, here's a slab stream. Or one of the other big people on Whatnot suddenly has a whole back shelf filled with 1,000 Ace slabs. You know, I'm not the only person out there that's going, there's a conflict here. How do you like, how do you answer it? Like, I know you sort of have, but you've got to have, there's got to be some transparency in it. Like,
well, yeah, the transparency. What would you say is the transparency part of it? Because not all that stuff you mentioned there, none of it is true. If that makes sense. I don't pay for grading at cost at all. I have a business rate, as many other people do at Ace. There's no secret there that there is a partner rate, and that is based on volume. That is based on sort of you know, I guess every business has that. Every business has people that, you know, do their business in volume. The price I pay for Ace is higher than partners pay for CGC, for example. So if I wanted to tomorrow, I could run 1,000 slabs through Whatnot of CGC, and I'd actually be better off in terms of the price I'm paying. When Ace is closed, I'm closed as well. So when you see a bunch of slabs rock up on Whatnot, it's just because the submissions are, you know, being processed. That's the sort of the end of that one. So yeah, I understand the conflict of interest. Obviously, I'm not sort of never have been either, like sort of quiet on identifying that there is a reason why people would assume there's a conflict of interest, but you know, there's no shady stuff happening at Ace in the slightest. You know, it's just, I don't know. I just know that the reputation I've built throughout all these years as an honest person, that's what people have to look at. If you know, that's why I'm saying to you, what is transparency? Because if there are things that people need me to do to sort of be like, look, here's the truth, then I'd do that. You know.
Okay. In regards to that, then, Obviously, we know affiliates with the 5%. With that partner rate, is there a tier for that? Is there additional partners? No, and I'm not talking about people that are internal ACE. Is there an outside tier of that affiliates that do have a wider berth access?
No. Affiliates, all affiliates are, they have a discount code. So they have a discount code. They get a kickback on based on the submissions that they bring into ACE, and then they can use that credit to get more grading credit, if that makes sense. So, for example, if you get £100 worth of submissions through to ACE with your, if you've given 5%, if you've got £100 worth of kickback from the 5%, you can either cash that out and take it as money. ACE will pay you the money for it, or you can get a 1.5 multiplier on that and get it as £150 grading credit if you want to keep it in ACE. And that's, I don't know if that's a widely known thing, but that is how it works. We also accept a lot of affiliates. People always wonder why there are so many ACE affiliates, and it's because we believe that we want people who are brand new. If they pass the vibe check, if you will, with the staff, they're often able to get a code. Doesn't matter how many followers you've got, because everyone starts from somewhere. I started from somewhere, and I would love nothing more than people out there to get an ACE code and go, you know what, this is what I need to get my business to the next level. It might legitimize them to go, you know what, I'm then going to go and grow this, and that's what we want. We want people to do that for themselves and for ACE. Obviously, that's why sometimes there's moments we have to take people off the affiliate program, because we've sort of like let them in, and then actually this person doesn't represent us. We got it wrong, and then we sort of kick them out as bluntly as it is. But there is no other hidden affiliate. There genuinely is partner rates. There are partner rates. They're tiered as well based on how many cards they can submit. This was sort of, what's the word? It was wasn't used for a long time because of the fact that we were closed. In the period where we were launching slots every day at 6 p.m. No new people ever. By the way, no one could submit then actually, but no new people got what's the word? No new people got it's called A Select. We used to call it A Select, but no one got that. And every time at card shows, someone's coming up to me like, please. I'm like, look, we would just fall. It would be wrong for us to give anyone access when everyone else can't submit. However, when we opened up again in December and stopped the sort of 6 p.m., we started bringing in new partners, and partners could be a store drop-off. There's a lot of drop-offs at ACE now. We're trying to grow that. So you can go into someone's shop, use it. We've got a bespoke system. It's really, really good where people can submit to ACE through the store. And there are people who do get sort of a discount based on the volume of submissions. But even that is all done sort of by the book. They have limits. If ACE is closed, it's closed for them as well. So that's the answer to that one. Yeah, but obviously feel free to ask more as well. So
there's no cheeky Randy's inner circle, back doors open.
No,
jump.
No. They always say is with Viv, Vav, they get no, they don't get any space. In fact, they get the opposite. I'm like, no, thank you guys. Even that, how to say, Vivian, famous girl, he has he has business rates. He doesn't use them. It's just I'm always saying, bro, you use them. He doesn't use them. So yeah.
Okay. Anything else you want to add, Dan?
You can ask me more things about this, by the way. I'm sort of I don't know which direction and which part of it you want me to answer, but like I'm not trying to dodge any questions. We just
want you to answer honestly, Randy. Like that's the whole point of the spot. This is not
so sure. With the conflict, the biggest conflict of interest is the fact that I am I'm a founder of ACE, and people are going to assume I get 10s. I go and change the grade. That does not happen, and we knew that from the start. So I'm completely separate from the grading area, the grading staff members. Every submission at ACE is anonymous. I know people always get confused at this, but it's true. So basically, I haven't got an example, but it's semi-rigid, right? On that is a label that gets put on there. It's just barcode, service level, and when the graders get the card, they scan that. It brings it up on the screen, and they go through with the process. They've got no idea whose that is. Of course, people always go, oh yeah, well, what if you filmed the YouTube video and you sent it in? They know it's yours. That can happen, I guess. Someone can think, oh my God, this card must be Randy's, but ultimately they got no idea unless they watch that. And also, I try and submit I don't do submission videos anymore, so I only do the submission videos when they come back in the return, so they wouldn't know anyway,
SB on Gold Star.
Mm-hmm.
I will get crucified by the fucking internet if I didn't say SB on Gold Star in a 10.
Yeah.
I watched that video and I was like, oh, come on. Like
that's a real 10, right? It's pristine. Yeah. How do I say it? I would feel sick to my soul if that were to ever happen. If I'm a collector, I'm a heart. If I were to ever, I can't even change a grade. If I was to ever do that, I would feel my soul it wouldn't work. So but the thing is, I understand that I know that. I understand that people don't know that. So I get why people think this and say this, but like all I can say is that no, a legitimate thing. Genuinely. Yeah. Like, and also that video as well. I'm purposefully. With that video, like I did not, how's the word? That was not out. I didn't go and buy that Espeon, then put it on YouTube, then submit it. I made sure that I submitted that card in the video. That makes sense, and then put the return in the video. Of course, I cannot change if someone's going, oh, I wonder if this is Randy's. But at the same time, they've got consistency checks. If someone ever do that, they're graded, but you failed your job, So, yeah. And also that card's fucking pristine as well. gaff.
Fair enough. But on the anonymous side, the 1 million Certzard.
Yes.
Come on, right?
Yes.
You're telling me de facto that was anonymous and that wasn't because you put out a
1,000
statement.
anonymous.
You put out a statement or put
Come
out a
on.
thing where you were like, "Oh, we're doing a video with the person that happened to be 1 millionth in the queue with a Skyridge
So,
card that got 10."
let me explain this, okay? This is how it works. We've done this many times before. So the first 5 certs ever at 8th grading were reserved, and we gave them out as giveaways. I think number 2 or 3 still hasn't been, never got redeemed. Someone won it and never redeemed it. So those first 5 ones, we started at 6. So the first graded card at 8th ever is number 6, right? So those first 5 went to giveaway winners. There's times in the past, I can't remember which ones it was, but there's times we get to a milestone where Tom or the team will reserve the cert. So they'll reserve the cert, so no certs can go past that. So basically, we did it for the millionth one. So we reserved the millionth because obviously people are 800,000. I got the 800,000 slab by not on purpose. It just came back, sick serendipity, 800,000. I was gassed. But there's 2 sides to it, right? Someone's going to go. If a random card got the millionth cert, old maid 7, everyone's going to go, why the hell would you guys allow that card to get the millionth cert, right? And also, it's a big milestone. 1 million cards graded by 8th grade, that's 6. So we reserve the cert. So basically what we do is the cert gets reserved. So once it gets, I think it was 9999 or 9998, once it gets to that, it skips it. So it goes from that to 1,020,000. We just reserved 20. I mean, originally Tom reserved 1, but I told him to reserve 20 just because it'd be good to have an entire submission be in that gap. So it gets reserved. From then on, we're trying to find a card that is worthy of being the millionth cert, not worthy of getting the grade for it, but worthy of being that. So we're looking through the system. We're looking through cards that have already been graded, of course, already been graded and haven't yet been billed, haven't yet been billed. So that then we can then move that submission to the millionth cert. So we can effectively, we all moved. That is, people can argue that's not fair, of course, but also, millionth cert. Let's make it
It's
a cool
your company.
card.
You can do what you want.
So we were looking through the system. We were looking through cards that were before 2008, cards that were 10s, hollows. Trying to find like a Charizard. Obviously is the main play, but a Pikachu or something. The CD promo Charizard that got a 10. Again, ping that over to Tom, and he's like, before he can get to it, it's been billed. The customer's got it already. Damn it, And then this happened a few times, and I'm thinking, bro, now at this point we're already at like 1.5 million, whatever it may be. It's like not 1 million, 1,050,000. There you go, 1,050,000. We got to get one. So then, going through the system, they find Skyridge Charizard to get a Gem 10. And again, please, everyone watching this, after it's been graded, of course, it wasn't like, this card's in there, I make sure it gets a 10, because also these certs are online, they're on the cert page, they're also, people buy them. Like, why would anyone want to get you can't give a card a fake grade, by the way. You can't do it because it's out there, Ace's reputation is sort of lives by it. Even myself, right? There's 2 reasons. The reason why there's no conflict of interest as Ace is because I'm a man of my words and I back it, but also because we put it out there, what idiot would I be to change the grade of a card to get me an extra grand when Ace is a way bigger company, I'll be shooting myself in the face, That's why the Rose's Pokemon stuff is so bad, because it's a difference, right? I can't say what he's doing is the same thing that effectively I'm doing, but people look at me and go, there is a proper way of going about it because of who I am and my reputation, And by the way, if I didn't have that reputation, I wouldn't be doing it, if that makes sense. So I've sort of stand by my reputation on that. If people don't like that's fair. But the millionth cert, it got moved, okay? So we looked at submission, fucking mental. The video's coming out soon, literally after this price change, but the video's coming soon, fucking unbelievable. Regular guy, he had no idea. We called him. The story, actually, I was a little bit unhappy with it. The story was, find the card that was going to be moved, then call him up, before it gets billed and say, look, you've got the millionth cert, because we don't want him to look at the grade. You got the millionth cert. I would love to hand deliver this. I wanted to hand deliver it to him, drive all the way to him, hand deliver it, and film a video with him. However, the team billed it before that could even happen. So he got the invoice and he looked at he knew he had the millionth. He didn't look at the grades though. Somehow he just had the self-control to not look at the grades, which is pretty immense. But I think it got billed beforehand. Obviously, the team were filming I don't know if you've seen the encapsulation videos we do, where you film it being encapsulated. We've got that footage as well. But this is all after it's been graded. And yeah, I get why also people think that this must be Randy's, it must be, but it's like, nah, people are trusting Ace with these kind of cards now. And I'll tell you, there's so many cards that go through Ace that, no one's got a clue what they are, because that's how the system works at Ace, But that one, we moved it across, and the guy's sick. The video's coming out soon, and it's pretty cool.
Okay. So you answered the follow-up to that, which is it's not Randy's, but did you make an offer?
No. You know what? I
Got to ask the question because
I've got, by the
the
way.
internet wants to know.
I've got, people are going to be shocked at this. I've got PSA 10 Skyrise Charizard still in my collection because I bought it in a binder back in the day. I graded it. It got a 10. I had videos with KSI, everyone reacting to it, loving it. I don't know if people know this. I sold all my PSA slabs. I've got some left. I sold all of them. I crossed a few as well, but again, PSA grading, especially back then, was awful. That's genuinely pathetic. So they just won't cross. I've done it before, and a PSA 9 gets an ace 7, 6. It's just so bad. So I have got some that are my childhood cards, the ones that I mentioned that my mum bought and I graded. They're still in PSA slab, but it's like got a meaning to me beyond PSA, not a financial one. So I've got the Skyrise Charizard. So I was like, you know what? Actually, whoever this person is that submitted, and I hadn't met him yet. I only met him when we filmed the return video, which was cool because he hadn't seen the grades yet. So his reaction was there for the first time. Pretty sick.
That's nice.
I was thinking, how cool would it be to trade my PSA 10 for his Ace 10? Because obviously I like Ace, and I'm sure for a lot of people they would rather want the PSA because it's worth more money. But then I was like, I don't want the millionth cert. I don't want the millionth cert at Ace. It just seems so tacky. I want whoever the collector is to get that. So I did not make an offer. I did not offer the trade. And also, like, people look at the trade and go, even though I want the Ace 10, like, sort of like, if someone thinks that I'm trading it away because it's worth more, then that's also saying that the PSA one's worth more, which obviously, of course it is. But didn't make an offer for it. Now he's sick guy, very sick guy, wants to keep them. So fair play,
Cool. I'll put my hands up there.
Also, I'm not alien to think that why people think this. That's why even with the team, I never tell the team, like, don't get involved, because especially the new staff members, they get really agitated. Why are people saying these horrible things? Because look how it looks, I can't change that. I can't change someone thinking that. Obviously, of course, it's just not though. So yeah.
No, that's fair enough. So I heard recently on your stream this week, you said about Ace not being a commodity.
Yeah.
It's a service.
Yes.
It was on Whatnot stream. We saw loads of questions coming through, and it was kind of like a rebuttal to one of the questions. Obviously, Ace is sort of, to me, and the way I see it, is that people have been using Ace as a quick flip. Way of life. And a company, in my opinion, can't grow beyond that until they move away from what it's been and what we've known Ace to be.
Yeah.
Has that been a factor as the reason as to why you've made the decisions that you've done to grow and come away from this stigma that you're in at the moment?
What's the question? So it's like, what is it like? Can you rephrase it a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So in regards to, if we look at a commodity versus a service, elaborate on wanting to come away from the commodity of Ace being a commodity to coming across into being a service.
Sure. Well, I think, again, this goes back to sort of like, how do I say? I don't know. Like I don't know, societies, right? And like people, you can't really stop people doing stuff. So like Ace can't stop itself being a commodity, if that makes sense. Ace can't stop people wanting to flip a card quick, and I think that's like really important distinction, because I think people do a lot of like finger pointing in the community, and I don't know how productive it actually is, because you can't change what someone wants to do. What is the difference between someone wanting to buy a card, grade it for their personal collection, not want it in a week, and then want to sell it on? What is the difference between someone getting a card in a trade that they don't want, grading it, then selling it on, versus someone who is buying the card for the sole intention of flipping it? I was talking to the Ran card staff today here, and I was like, you know what? Like, I actually always get bothered about like the true collector term, because like, what does that mean? And where does that end? Like, who is a true collector and who is not? And who's more right and who's more wrong? You know what I mean? Like, am I like me? I am one of the true collectors there is. I overpay for cards. I got a massive collection, but then also I'm owner of Ace, I'm owner of Rank Cards, and also businessman. I like to run companies. I like to build services, and it's like, well, do I do it just to get rich? I don't know. I'm trying to ask myself that question every day. Like, why am I doing this? Is it to make money? Yeah, of course, but not only. I'm so proud of the team. We've got Ace. So proud of the team here. Like, I get emotional. Like, even Pat, this Whatnot streaming for us, Rank Card, he's fucking unbelievable. He's so good, And I'm like, well, I want to champion him to do the best he can do, But like, and that I get joy out of that. So it's like, where does the line end? Being a businessman, successful person, wealthy. Where does it end? So it's like, even as a quick flipper or a commodity, you can't choose what people do and what they don't do with cards. Just like when people say, "Oh, you should," I see comments like, "Oh, you should stop people sending art rares." What? Like, what? How can you stop someone sending an art rare? Because someone could go and grade 300 Japanese art rares to sell it, but also someone could out there be a fan of that card, and also Japanese art rares are much cheaper. So some kid might want it for 20 quid. Ace can't go no art rares. Who's that solved? But what Ace can do is we can try and do things to sort of allow the real collector or whatever it may be to have more of a chance at grading with Ace. That's what I'm trying to get out with the videos that I'm making. It's like the membership price, whether you like that or not, it is some sort of barrier that allows that someone wins that and someone loses that. So I would say that someone who wants to submit on the lower tiers, the membership's there now as a way to sort of, if they truly like Ace and they want to support Ace and they want to actually grade, they'll be happy paying that price because they're going to use it throughout the next year. So that price will become just part of it. Like, and yes, that does obviously, businesses can do that. So Whatnot streamers, yes, will still be able to do that. But also those who are using Ace simply as a commodity because it is the cheapest and because it's the only option, those people got to ask themselves now, do I actually back Ace enough to do that or not? And hopefully, if it's like, collector versus that person, hopefully the collector wins and they get more space at Ace versus the other person because they don't like Ace anyway. They're just there for a quick flip. But at the same time, like, I can't decide who grades Ace and who doesn't. I can't do that. I can't. What if someone is a Whatnot streamer and they do want to start selling on Whatnot and they do want to become a member, submit 300 cards, and I can't stop someone doing that. It's someone's trying to run a business, and it's like, you got your Rosie's, Pokemons of the world, and then you've got your Randolphs of the world, and like, and again, everyone's got a right to submit cards. So that's I guess when you're looking at like a service or a commodity, it's like we can do all we can to try and accommodate everyone, but like it sort of is what it is, if that makes sense. And even with the price changes, no one will ever want to admit it out there, but like they are there to create a balance for the service. They are there to make people think hard about what they send. With Ace at the minute, there is a hard cap on capacity, which is growing faster and faster and more. We're getting, I can't believe it, right? I genuinely can't believe that we're doing 5,000 cards a day now. It's beyond my wildest belief that was even possible. We're doing it now. So it's sort of like, how do I say, like, we're growing as fast as we possibly can. We still can't fit everyone in because it's a hard cap. So it's like these decisions have to happen. And at the minute, it's not. We don't want to shut people out. I keep seeing people think that we don't want to get less submitters. We don't want to shut people out. But it would be nice if those people, rather than just sending everything, would have a bit more of a thought on what they send, so that then they're happy with it. So rather than getting 10 submitters, I said it in a video today, rather than getting 10 submitters to send in 100 cards, maybe at the minute they'll send in 70 cards, gives Ace a bit of breathing room to continue scaling at a pace that is happy for us. And like, again, we've tried to make it accommodate everyone. There's the membership tier now, which is a cheaper tier. Those prices are still there compared to what they were before the change. And again, like, I know £200 is a big price to pay. We've tried to soften that with a £100 grading credit, so that comes off your invoice. But even then, like, I know for a fact that there are people who will grade enough cards at that price for that cost to be eaten up. And it's sort of like, it's not just a way, it's not a waste of Ace to make money, hearsay, even though that will happen. It's a way for people to think twice whether I want to do that or not. And hopefully that thinking twice goes to someone who wants Ace to win and not someone who wants Ace to lose. And this is why, like, it all comes down to the fact that I said it today, like, Ace provides too much value. That is just an objective fact in terms of the UK right now. Like, Ace is closer to PSA, CGC, Beckett, Tag than it is to Get Graded and them lot. That's just the way it is. And if that wasn't a fact, it wouldn't be as popular and it wouldn't be used as much. So it's like, well, at the minute, Ace was priced at those companies, but Ace is acting the maturity levels of these companies, So it's like, it just is what it is, man. It's like, it just is what it is, unfortunately. And again, by the way, if we had, there's a part of it where, like, we have failed to grow, we have failed to scale, we have failed to expand, but not in a sinister way. Like, I can't tell you that the Ace team, myself, Tom, the rest of the leadership team are not working 200% to grow. Do you know what I mean? We are doing it as fast as physically possible. That's just a pure fact. There are frustrations, but even with that, we can still fail, right? We can still fail. But again, I don't know if you've seen today, PSA have shut 4 of their tiers, Tag have shut their tiers, CGC have extended their tiers. Everyone is fucked at the minute. There's so many cards coming through, So it's like, I think people got to also have a little bit of, like, understanding that, like, you can grow. And I saw Get Graded put out a thing today. They're like, we're growing. And by the way, it looked like a carbon copy of what Ace puts out there. Ace puts that out. Everyone hates on us. I saw someone go, oh man, look at this. They're so fucking transparent. We said the same thing, So I think there's one little bit where it's like, commodity-wise, like, of course, what I don't want is, I don't want people to grade Ace just because it's cheap. It makes sense. I don't want someone to do that if they don't like it. How many times, when Ace launched, everyone hated Ace. Nah, you're never going to make it. It's shit. PSA is way better. Those same people, day by day, week by week, year by year, are now massive Ace submitters. Because why? Ace is there and Ace is accessible and Ace is a service that they now use. We've earned their right, earned their respects. There are people out there that don't like Ace still. They hate on Ace, but they grade with Ace because they want to use it as the commodity. So it's like, I would like those to not get access compared to real collectors, you know? So out of those two people, the person I want to win is the person who wants to grade with Ace. And again, that is done by those who want to submit, you know? As much as the internet says, I've seen so many people at the minute hating on Ace in the comments. Not one of them got a picture of an Ace slab on their profile, and the ones often backing Ace go on their page. They've got, you know, it's like the haters come out the woodwork when something like this happens. It's their favorite time of the year. As soon as this happens, straight on there, hey. So it's like you have to look at that and go, that is off. Not there is real feedback. I'm not trying to say there's not real feedback, and also we see it all, you know. And again, I do. If there were infinite capacity at Ace, the price change probably wouldn't happen, right? You know, if we had enough space, it wouldn't happen. But the fact of the matter is, like, there is a capacity. We have hit it time and time again, and we are growing as fast as physically possible, but still not enough, you know. And that has to be understood by people, especially the market. Like, if every other grading company was not doing the same thing as well, it'd be harder to understand. But I think even today, people are hating me yesterday. Same people today, oh, Randy genius, man. Look at all we can do is what's in front of us, you know. So
there's a tiny gap between genius and insanity, isn't there?
I'm closer to insanity, and I'm not genius. I'm just fucking insane, but I'm dedicated, you know. So like, yeah.
I will say, oh, sorry, Rich. I will say it does crack me up every time when you do a post or do an Ace statement and you get all of the other UK companies just instantly. It's like they can't fucking wait.
Yeah.
And honest, as someone, again, I have my issues with Ace, and it's purely from a business point of view, because personally I don't use you, so it's purely from business.
Yeah.
But fuck me, does it piss me off when I go on and I see a statement from them or PG or whatever other bullshit fucking shed companies out there? Because I'm like, come up with something unique and on your own. Like, you're stealing, like, your USP, Randy, was the label. And it works. Every other fucker's doing it. Like, no one has an original thought anymore.
And they're all bad as well. No one does it in a way that looks as nice.
Oh, they are shit. I 100% agree there. Even Rich is nodding. They are shockingly shit, right? Yeah. I would happily send known artist labels your way that are actually good to benefit your brand.
Well, we are hiring as well. So anyone watching this, we are hiring for new label artists. So please do apply. I will say one thing as well. I want to shout out MGC as a grading company. After the Ace break-in, every other company was just like slagging Ace off left, right, and center. They never did. They messaged us and was like, sorry to hear this. You let us know if you need anything. So I want to make... I actually don't do many podcasts, so I want to say to them, like, shout out to MGC, because they were the only ones out there to actually reach out. And there's obviously, with price change, what you're saying there, I don't care if anyone mocks Ace, but after like a break-in, like, this is like such a low-class thing to do, is to laugh at somebody else. So shout out MGC, I will say that.
Fair. Just dialing back in, you answered that question, and I think taking you almost, to summarize, you almost need those traders to be able to build up this UK economy. But then also you're battling between the deep blue sea, because you've got a commodity, you want to change that to a service, which then creates an alternative asset, which is like I know we don't want to compare against PSA, but look, that's the elephant in the room here, other than myself and Dan. But you've got then you've got to be able to grow up to that, away from the English companies, and take yourself further into the American companies. Would you align with that?
Yeah, definitely. Well, then you say American companies, and it's like, well, you know, CGC, I don't know if anyone ever goes onto these streaming sites in America. They are flooded with partner submissions. I think CGC do around 25 to 30,000 cards a day. I would estimate, and, you know, I know people in America that do this, I'd estimate that like 50 to 60% of those are just pure partner subs, whatnot subs, pure. And I don't know, when I first started grading, everyone always used to coin the term junk slab. And by the way, these junk slabs used to be like the secret rare Fates Clyde Alakazam, you know, that gold border one. I remember people used to call that junk modern, you know, but maybe that's a bit of an extreme thing. But people used to coin the term junk slab. It's my belief with Ace, there's no such thing as a junk slab, because even the lower end stuff, even the cheaper stuff, looks absolutely amazing. That's why, by the way, we do.
Sorry, Randy. Sorry to jump in. Our old maid slabs, mate. They're fucking junk.
They are junk because they're cheap cards you get them in a deck. They look fucking sick, you know. If a kid's got an old maid, it looks banging. The label's so cool. And even the Taruka decks, what they call it, their labels are sick. The Pokemon's flying through the portal. So yeah, you can call them junk cards, but they look sick to somebody. They look sick to kids. Look sick to people who haven't got £1 million to spend on cards. You know, so for me, and again, the reason we do the rank card streams and whatnot, obviously, number one, we are trying to make money. We're trying to grow the business. That's you know, always be transparent with that. But at the same time, like, we wouldn't be doing it if also like we thought people were getting a bad product, and they fucking love it. You know, they love it. You know, they love these cards, and like, Pokemon's a weird thing. 'Cause it's like we all love the high end Pokemon cards, but I love the lower end stuff at Ace. I'm always collecting like half arts, reverse foils, Cosmo foils, and these people and whatnot love them. Like, that's what I'm trying to say, commodity or service. Who goes out there and like, if I'm on whatnot and someone's buying a £30 slab, £20 slab, like they want it, they just want it, and like I can't say that this person's not getting the first card in their collection, or they don't have much money in out there and they want to get a slab. Like, so yeah, in with CGC, other companies, there are people doing junk slabs, but with Ace, the art rares, sometimes I actually think the sort of cheaper cards look better because the label has more character. With full art, it's always like, well, not illustration as art rares, but with full art, there's often no character to it. It's just like a black background or a red background. These common cards got so much art in them, so when the label artist gets that art and puts it on top, like, fucking looks sick. So I don't know. I'm trying to say, like, my point here is like, who's to say what is a commodity and what's not, and what's a product? It's like you can't say that. Like, it's like you can, sorry, but it's like you as a sole person can't decide. I can't decide what you think about something, so I can't decide that these guys buying stuff and whatnot. Again, that's why the danger is with the aura grading rosy stuff, is because, like, at that point there is no intrinsic value to these cards, not actual financial value. They don't look good, and there's not even ranked cards. Our streamers are so entertaining. That's how they're sort of like get encouraged. So it's like you've got all these different things at play, whereas like sometimes there's just no value, and also people do sniff that out. So yeah, I can't remember what the original question was, but yeah, like, I guess like streaming is tough, man. It's tough because I'm sitting in there buying fucking slabs, I'm in these guys' streams. Well, I'll get one,
I've seen you and had a stream a few times.
Yeah, I've been his a lot, Yeah.
Animes.
Well,
yeah.
I wanted to move on to the subscription question, which is the biggest question that we've received from followers.
Yeah.
All right. So several comments have stated that they feel that the subscription would suit submission hubs and also TCG submission stores. Where's the actual value for the average person? Let's not call them the average collector. Let's call them the average person.
Average, by that you mean someone who hasn't got the money to pay £200, for example?
Mum and dad, 2 kids.
Mum and dad, 2 kids. Cool. I would say, and again, people are going to hate me for this, but I would say if you are the average person, the new basic, £18, £21, including the label, 45 days, ping it on there, and that's a genuine answer. Go there. So I see some people on Discord like, oh, my 6-year-old kid's fuming now because she can't submit. I'm like, well, when I was 6-year-old, I don't know if there's any 6-year-old out there thinking I want to get my slab done by 8th grade and I'm raising as a membership now. I guess like the average person, I get this all the time. The average collector will actually pay £18 for their card because they want to collect their card. I got a staff member who loves Darkrai. He pays over the odds for Darkrai. I like Lugia, Rayquaza. I'm going to go pay extra for those cards. So if you are a collector, so it's why I always get mad at the term collector, because like if you are a collector, you will send your card 45 days, £18, £3 for the label. That's fine for you because you're trying to collect your card. If you're not a collector and you're trying to get some financial gain out of it, it's not true. No one is a 100% true collector. At Soul you can be, but I'm saying there's always someone buying trying to sell something. But money is a thing in life. You can't act like it's not. And so I would say the average person, if you're an average person who's not a collector, who's not like an avid collector, who's not a store, you will pay £18. This is the way it is, man.
Do you not believe though, Randy, that if you'd have gone, right, we are offering that as a subscription model to stores. So let's divert quickly into the European expansion, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, you just had that meeting in Amsterdam with all those guys, and this is obviously pre-price announcement, because I would assume that no one in that room was going to be told that the prices were going up, right? So that was pre them. Those guys have got to be a bit miffed. But surely now this would be the one service that you take out of this. If you could dial it back 48 hours and you sat down around the table and went, right, what can we do to utilize those markets and also get people on side inside the UK? That subscription model works for bricks and mortar. It works for those people because then, you have submission hubs for PSA, for Beckett, for CGC. And yes, you have, obviously, I know there is a submission hub for Ace locally to me, but that subscription model would work massively. Like I'm giving you free business advice. Like that should be the rollout. Yeah, unsolicited. But that should be the rollout. Like it's the one thing that out of all of this thing, I'm like, when I'm scrolling down, I'm like, it's a fucking subscription. Like, why is that not being offered to bricks and mortar? Like that would put you in so many more places almost instantly, and even in Europe, because then you have fixed locations and you're not dealing with, however many hundreds of parcels you get submitted to Ace a day, you're then suddenly getting one big lump from store to store to
we
store.
have that anyway. What's the question? Because we have submission hubs already in Europe and in the UK. What's the distinction there between?
Well, the thing is, the whole subscription model theoretically would benefit stores more than obviously the average collector. But like, you're almost eliminating the pocket money kids side from it. With, again, you say £18 with, plus a label. I'm of the opinion that I would, as a business, that 200 quid, I'd pay it to then offer that £12 service to mums that go, my kid's just pulled this card, doesn't care about the value, is 6 years old, has just pulled the Mewtwo from Destined Rivals, loves it, wants it on the shelf, wants it to be graded as cheaply as possible, doesn't care about the 6 months. Bang, bang. You've got an additional customer versus having to explain to that person, oh, it's £18, then this charge for a label, then the return postage cost. Instead, you've got a sell. And then that discount or the affiliate code for that store is active. You're seeing the engagement because obviously you have metrics levels inside of Ace. You're then seeing it 20, 50 times more.
Yeah,
so you've got
the submission hubs do have that, and obviously I think as the membership rolls out, the tech behind that is not sort of just finished just yet. So I think as we launch in these stores, there won't be a membership for anyone at that point. But I think as we go forward, we're going to figure out ways to do it, whether the submitter that walks into the store needs a submission or needs a membership or doesn't need a membership, whether the store has the membership and then the customer doesn't. Then obviously if the customer doesn't, then no one would submit to Ace, everyone just goes to these shops and you get a cheaper grade in there, which again I agree, if a kid's walking in there, maybe they should have the right. And it goes back to though, what two stores, one person out there has got a kid that's walking in to submit, but then also there's someone else got their mates coming around, load in 500 slabs, pretend you're a kid. It's like, where does it, I think people can't control this. This is a market, it's a country. Like, people do what they want to do. It's tough.
Yeah, but you're effectively alienating a lot of.
No, but listen to this. Put it this way, right? This is what people forget about the price changes, right? We would be closed just for fact, right? Like this price change, one of the main goals with it is to try and stay open in a place where we've got limited capacity. So two factors at play here. If we don't change the prices and we don't update the service offering, it'll be closed. So that person walking in with that money ain't getting anything because it's going to be taken up by his lot. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, well, at least this way, if there's a real collector out there and they can pay the £18, they will now be able to hopefully pay the £18. But also the panic that I've got at the minute is that PSA, CGC, Tag, everyone's shutting as well. So like this price change was a goal to try and actually rebalance things. They've fucked it for us again because now Ace is going to again become another thing that people have to do my head in, genuinely do my head in. So it's like, it's just a win. But you know what I'm saying there though? Like that service, what's better? Is service being open or closed? I gotta say it's got to be open. When the 6 p.m. drops are happening, it's awful because there's new people coming to Ace, can't submit. New people. I got friends out there, oh, Ace is sick, man. Like, I'd love to submit. Nope, you can't. It's fucking closed, So like, I would rather. I'll be honest. I would rather it be £18 on open than £15 on closed. And I think people got to understand that, like we're really stuck in a tough place, And by the way, I would prefer it to be cheaper and infinite capacity. And there's nothing saying that as we continue to grow and we get the capacity, we don't change the prices. That's also another part of the membership. The goal of the membership is that tier will always remain as cheap as physically possible, maybe even go lower in the future, Other tiers maybe go higher again in the future, but this one will fucking protect that because it's £200 now. So it's like, that's like the Ace Club, you know what I mean? But it's tough. I know it doesn't make sense, but like nothing makes sense, If it made sense, that I'd be fucking opening everything. Yeah, it'd be easy. It's not easy.
So what I'm struggling with at the moment is that 199, right?
Yep.
As an individual, where is the value?
The value is in if you want that £12 tier and you want that £15 tier, and you submit enough for those two for the cost to be manageable, then you got access to those tiers, And again, it is very expensive. It's more expensive than PSA. We knew that going into it. I was asking the team, like, look, do we want to rethink this price or not? We then came up with the grading credit. So the grading credit, you get £100. So, I know it is only effective value, but you pay £200. You get £100 back as grading credit. That can come off any submission, even the higher tiers, but it'll also, if you don't submit anything else, it'll come off that same submission. So you got a £99 effective value compared to basic. It'll pay itself in 17 cards, the average submission on those two tiers. Because again, one thing we did mess up is we called the tiers core and value. They are basically just basic and standard, but we should have done it the other way around. We should have kept them a basic and standard and renamed the middle ones, because then everyone's putting that picture out there going, look at the percentage changes. Well, actually, no one's putting 0, obviously with the membership fee, because it's a different name. So we did mess up with that. But those two tiers are there, and it pays for themselves in 17 and 10 cards submitted based on the different ones. If you do follow the average, sort of submission, you'd fit in them. And also that, remember, it's across a whole year as well. And big thing is, we're not talking about no minimums, no minimums, So it's like you can now submit one card before. It's 10 card minimum, 120 quid for one submission. Now it's 12, if you get the membership, of course. But yeah.
And that's the...
Go on, Rich, sorry.
Sorry, go on, Dan. No, go.
Okay. Obviously, again, playing devil's advocate, Randy, like, again, you said you are more expensive than PSA. With PSA, obviously, it did used to offer the value and bulk tier, obviously, when they were cheaper, and obviously now we know they're 25 and shut. So, again, there were loads of people in the DMs prior to this podcast being like, you need to mention it, but you need to give it a fair shake, and we fucking will. Like, we'll talk about that later on, if you've got time, obviously.
Yeah, I'm good.
But the thing with the PSA subscription is obviously you do get a return on value on that outside of the grading.
Yeah,
obviously you get this, you get the free grading, you get One Piece cards, you get Naruto cards, you get Street Fighter cards, you get the magazine, you get something back. Like, is there any thought process to that? And
for sure, we want to add as many things in as possible. Currently, at this moment in time, it's sort of just access to those tiers, but that's because the time we've had to actually implement this is been quite short, so we've not had time to do any other things in it, if that makes any sense. But we want to add more things, events, if you will, giveaways, bundles. There's a goal in the future. Obviously, we've got the graded guards now for Ace. The goal in the future is to actually have those part of the service. So if you're a member, potentially you get one of them in month. I don't know. All this stuff is like sort of up in the air, but we're trying to do the best we can, and we're trying to add these things the best we can. But we've got a small team. Look at PSA. And I don't know, 5 billion valuation. It's like it's hard to add all this stuff in, but we definitely want to. But even as I'm recording this, like I don't know the future either, because of all these other companies shutting. Our main goal with the memberships was that we don't close them. We just don't close them. So every other tier will close before the membership tiers. But at this time Monday's going to come around. We're open again. Everyone else is shut. I'm just like, we don't know what to do, because we don't know what to do, because people are going to, it's annoying for me, because
you're going to get absolutely smashed to bits.
I know, and I sort of like, how do I say with the price changes? Again, I lead with confidence, so we're not going to do this unless we think it's the right thing to do anyway. And people can say yes or no to that. They can say it's right or wrong, whatever it may be. But we're going to do it. We wouldn't announce it if it was not the right thing to do. We're not going to backtrack, if that makes sense. That makes you look weak, makes you lose all integrity you've got. But I wanted to do this, and I wanted to see the future, because I wanted those people who do love Ace and do want to use Ace to actually move forward with it. But then now everyone's just going to say, "Oh, of course you're full again," because everyone else is shut. It's really frustrating for me all the time, because I've always said, people always ask me, "What are you going to do when PSA get to the UK?" I say this time and time again, I cannot wait for the day that PSA is in the UK, because I cannot wait for the people who will still submit to Ace when PSA is next to us. That's what I want. I want PSA to be there, and I want Ace to be next to them, and I want people to still submit to Ace. So I hate being the fact that PSA is short, I'm going to go Ace. I hate that so much, because I want people to realize the quality, the labels, the grading, the slabs, the ethos, what we're doing is good, and people aren't submitting because they've got no other choice. They submit because they want to. So, at this moment in time, Thursday evening, I don't know what's going to happen on Monday yet, because everyone's fucked to shit the bed, as we are,
Yep.
I hear you. I think for me, if I was paying that level of membership, I would expect my cards to be turned around quicker. If I'm going to pay a premium, I think that's personally it's
tough, isn't it? Because there's two ways. Yeah, there's like, well, you pay a membership, and then it's sort of like the tiers have to be the way they are, because of the fact that, like, how do I say, like, the volume is there, right? So it's like it is a tough one. It's quite a backwards way of doing things, but it's sort of like, imagine if that was the way. Imagine you got a membership and you get your cards back in 2 days, but you still pay £12. It doesn't really work, It just doesn't work. It's like,
that wouldn't work. No.
Yeah.
I think an advance from, what is it, 95, 85?
Yeah, no, it's 95, 75, 95, 75,
Yeah, so the 85 was the previous one, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's changed a lot.
I think we made a skit on it about Amazon and 85 days. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
But it's just like, it's tough, man. Like, it's like brutal. It's just tough, man. Like, but volume, that's there for the people who do want to submit, 100 cards, 200 cards, 300 cards, and whether that's a store again or not, who can say?
Okay.
But it's built for them, so you get. It's just like the way, I guess, like economics works. The more you spend on something, the cheaper it gets. The caveat is it takes longer. But that's why it's like, if you've got a card I think people need to understand with grading, it depends what your card is. Like the card dictates the service level. So we've tried to add 2 tiers. We've had 2 tiers now. I mean, how many tiers PSA got? Like 30, 40 tiers, whatever. And then also you get to the end. You got to click more. So depending on how much the card's worth, you know. Speaking of my S Pen, it would cost me $5,000 to grade it with PSA, and it's now going to cost either 50 before or now 120 with Ace. But the point being is that like your card should dictate the price you pay. If that makes sense. Like you should go to £120 if your card's a $10,000 card. You should probably go £12 if your card's a £2 card. You know, it's just sort of like the way it is, and that's like the access to that tier membership. You've got to pay that because then you're sort of like allowing us to protect that service by. Yeah. It doesn't make. I know how it seems, but it's like, you know, we're doing the best we can. You know, got to do something.
Yeah.
Do the best we can.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you for taking the time to explain that in a bit more detail.
All good.
Oh, is it me next, Rich?
Yeah, sorry, it was flow state then.
Oh, Christ. So obviously we're off the back of the subscription.
Yes.
We see the £100 grading credit, but there's £100 there.
Yeah.
You know, just left there. Is that, you know, how is that money going to be utilized? Is obviously, I assume the assumption will be growth.
There's 2 things at play, and I'll be completely transparent to everyone out there. There is growth of the company, and then there is the demand and the capacity. You know, I might be the most backwards founder businessman in the entire world, but there's probably 10% of my soul that actually thinks it's going to be a good thing in terms of revenue. But all of the rest of it is down to a balancing of the supply and demand, the turnarounds, the capacity, all that stuff, more than it is the revenue. So of course it's going to go into growth, and we always do that. All we do is put the money back into Ace. But it will help, you know. But there are a few things at the minute that are causing us major headaches. That until we unlock those, we can't go faster than we're going now. If that makes any sense. So it will obviously, of course, go back into growth. It's not here to line my pockets. I'll be honest, at all. You know, it's not how I do things at Ace. Yeah,
that's understandable. Is there anything you want to say to that, Dan? Or
no.
Okay, right. These are the really important ones for me.
Yep.
So in regards to your customers with the subscription, I think we talked about those ones are going to remain open. So I'm going to move past that question.
I got to say it right here and right now, because that is the goal. I got to try and figure out what the reality is, if that's not, because there is a capacity at Ace, and we've done this whole refresh to make sure that these remain open. And now, after all the PSA stuff, I'm thinking, well, what if they do close? You know, and it would be the worst thing. Well, ask you guys, what, you know, if it gets to a point where Ace has to close something to protect the turnaround times, which is a realistic thing, what is the preference? Is it closing the membership tiers? And you know, I think PSA at the minute are sort of extending the membership based on the amount of times they're closed, or do we just keep putting the turnaround time back but keep it open? You know what I mean? Does it go from 95, 100, 200, 300, 400, like that, you know? Or maybe we don't launch the membership, you know what I mean? Maybe all this work can it, you know? I don't know. But that's where I'm at right now, and this is how things get difficult, because like on Thursday night, spent 2 days, you know, sort of rolling this out to the customers, standing behind it, and then everyone else closes. Everyone's going to come now back to Ace, because again, it is £12, it is £15. Cool, I got to pay £200. That's what? That's PSA's new pricing. That's 3 cards on their new lowest tier to get access to a year worth of £12 grading Ace. Obviously, everyone's going to do that, you know. So it's like, so yeah, all we can do is try and grow. But yeah, that's the answer to that, though. I know you didn't want to ask it, but I can answer it anyway.
That's all right. Did you have an inkling about PSA at all?
An inkling? No, not really. I mean, obviously, we knew that they were smart about it when they said, you know, we're putting the turnaround times longer, but we're investing 200 million into the company. That's PR, by the way. Everyone sees through that. You know, okay, we're investing 200 million. Also, keep scrolling. You got to wait double now for your cards. But yeah. We don't really, how do I say, like, everyone out there looks at Ace and goes, oh, PSA is PSA. We don't do that. We don't sit there and go like, well, obviously we do when like they clutch tiers, which means that everyone's going to come to us, but it's not like a battle, you know. It's generally not a battle. We focus on our service, our product, and we grow that, and we don't look at other people and go like, oh, wish our slabs are worth more. Like that's the company, that's the customers, that's the fan base that do that.
It's the market.
Yeah, it's the market, you know.
The market dictates.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So this is a big one that I know that customers are going to want to ask.
Yep.
So, mate, please, why can't you include art labels across all tiers? Because this is what your customer base wants.
It's a tough one, you know, because again, you know, let me ask you, why would the customers want it? That's one question.
Because why would they want the basic label, and why would they want the
honestly
the Ace label?
Yeah,
how many? You've probably got the data on that. To be fair, so in regards to the
What do you reckon it
people
is?
that
What do
use
you reckon the
the
uptake is in ace label versus standard label?
90%
10%.
minimum.
90%, yeah, I think it's that 90%.
Oh, right.
Well, this is a tough one as well. When we started the service, we're going to go like, right, we knew ace label was going to be one of our sort of USPs, if you will. Color match as well. Obviously, color match is NAF. I'll be honest with that. And then you've got the standard label, which also is NAF. The goal is not for it to be NAF forever, though. So there are plans in play to actually make the standard label much better, because it's just tough. People say, why do you not just abolish the standard label? Well, number one, right now there are some delays in brand new labels being created. So if someone does want to grade with ace and they do want to use the sort of standard label, they can with no delays. So it has to be a lane. It has to be a lane for someone to be able to do that, if that makes any sense. Obviously, I wish it did look nicer, and then when people use it. Also, some people don't like their collection being so random. Some people like it being in unison. I've got some sets where it is standard label, at the start. Because remember, don't forget at the start, we had limited labels. At the start, not everyone could even get an ace label because of the fact that we had a team work on it. Because it's become so popular, we're now making them like mad, and it's got a 90% usage. But the goal at the start was always to have different choices for people. We are going to upgrade that, I promise you that. And yeah, it's sort of obviously I know people want it included because it's because it's cheaper, right? Like everyone wants that. It's also, someone also wants £2 graded, I'm sure of that as well. But there's the staff that we have to pay to create these labels, and that, of course, that only exists for one label. That makes sense. But then Moonbryon has been done 3,000 times, so that one cost has been spread. But then there are so many times where there's only one label ever made. You got to think of that side of it as well. So look at CGC, PSA. Look at, I don't know, anyone in the UK. Their cost is going to be there's going to be no level cost. As Ace grows, we've got 5 full-time artists now. We're hiring right now indefinitely. I'll get to 10, 15, 20 happily. That will continue to grow. So at that point, you got 20 full-time employees. The money's got to come from somewhere. And obviously, you can subsidize something from the rest of the service to do that. But like, if the labels are £3 and that's generating income, then that is sort of that's sort of like Ace's product. It's a sales channel of Ace. The higher tiers, we did do that, and by the way, I wanted that selfishly for the whole time. Luxury £120, £60 ultra, it should be included in that. There's a lot of discussion in terms of Ace, in terms of like, is that sort of like something that will then be a domino effect across the whole thing? Like, is that something we want to do? But I think at that price point, £120, eat the cost, absolutely. That'll happen in the future as well. There'll be other stuff that we can bundle into those tiers. There's other stuff we can bundle into the membership. One thing as well, Ace's whole system is bespoke. We created it from the ground with the developers. So sometimes it's not as easy as just like, Shopify, you can put a discount code in. With our system, you can't just go and do that tomorrow. Even the labels, they're not launching on Monday. They're launching after that because we just physically cannot make them free in the high tiers by Mondays. Not enough time. So, but yeah, like, I don't know, sort of like, and also I will say as well, there's a part of the Ace levels that are premium, and you just want to keep them premium. Once you do bundle them in, they're not premium anymore. It's just bog standard. And I want them to have that aura to them. I want to have that notoriety. So that, by the way, is a business answer. Not every answer is sunshine and rainbows. That one is sort of like, I'm not just gonna say it is what it is, but like that's sort of it's just the way Ace wants it. So it's the way it is for Ace, really. And I will say as well, a lot more coming with labels in the future. This kind of conversation will make more sense in the future, and now it wouldn't make much more sense. But obviously, we're always going to improve things, upgrade things. So right now, maybe the labels are, people look at them and go, how much does that really cost you? In the future, it costs us much more. So this kind of stuff is with Ace, you got growth. So you got like growing the capacity. You also got innovating and continuing to grow the service. Like we haven't done that in a long time because we've been just catching up. We're getting to a point now where we're going to start really, really elevating the service. And doing some cool stuff. And I think that's where you'll see Ace truly shine. When we first started, we were quite innovative with what we do. Tom is an absolute genius. Tom is the genius, by the way. I'm not the genius. Tom is the genius. The stuff he does is unbelievable. As we start rolling that stuff out, you'll see we've got Yu-Gi-Oh dropping soon as well. So all that kind of stuff's coming. So yeah, excited for all that stuff. So the labels are just, they cost £3. So it's just, of course it'd be great for them to be free. It'd be great for everything to be free. So it's tough.
In regards to the reports, so I have a lot of clients come to me and send me the reports, at which point there is something and nothing on those reports. In as much that, yes, there are points of interest, and yes, it does go into some detail. However, if the grader is making those notes, why are they not included more transparently within that report so people can actually see what the issue is?
Yeah, grading reports in general, we want to absolutely overhaul and improve. So, for example, the reason why they're not included in the membership, for example, the reason why they're not included in Ultra is because they're not good enough to be included in there. Obviously, they still cost £2 now, and that's sort of how do I say, like that's just sort of because that cost, it's not a moneymaker, if that makes sense. It's that, like, if imagine this, imagine if everyone had access to the grading report, customer service would be absolutely finished with sort of requests nonstop because of that, because it's not as accurate as it could be. In the future, if we can develop a system and a grading report that is better, that has got more details on it, then I would like that to be free at that point because it's got more transparency. All that's going to happen right now is someone buys that grading report, it's going to go to customer service, it's not any detail on it. So we want to improve that, want to make it better. I think a lot of the grader notes are like shorthand, so they write a lot of stuff shorthand. So if we just showed the internal notes on the grading report, it would look bad. So there's stuff in the future where we want to try and data set that, so we can try and get away for their shorthand to be translated into something that is a sentence. You know what I'm saying? So I think that, again, I'm not too stuck in with the grader stuff, but like PL is print line, right? So that would be then changed into this card's got a print line that goes through the face of Charmander or something. That'd be lovely to do that, So yeah, again, like Tom, myself, we love Ace. We want it to be the best possible thing. We it's not like we don't look at stuff we do and go, I wish that could be better. It's just that it's not as easy as just to do it tomorrow. As we grow, as we expand, even when you say about the money from the memberships, that's going to go into all this innovation. So all of it helps. So yeah, we'd love to make grading reports better. Promise you that. And also in the future to show the cards as well, like actually get scans of the cards, all this kind of stuff. Loads of stuff coming.
Yes. If there's one complaint that I get all the time is when you get the Surface 7 and it says print or indent mark visible from front to back, and then you go on the Ace thing, and it's got a little circle, and
you got to find it.
Yeah. Literally, it's like I can find him. Where's Wally?
Like, well, yeah, two things there. I agree. I completely agree with you. But and again, I think people got to understand that. I agree. I do agree. I wish it was better. But number two is that I don't know how anyone out there grades a card through a piece of plastic. It blows my mind. You in America, Collecticon, you can go and take your PSA card to Beckett, and they will grade it through the slab and give you a black label if it deserves it. That is genuinely, I don't know. I don't want to say stuff that get me in trouble. That's mental. Mental. You can't see it. Even Ace, you can't see the scratches through the slab sometimes. So that's why you're looking at the grading report. I can't see it. Yeah, because you can't see it. But then how do you get a black label through a PSA slab or vice versa? Genuinely, I don't know. I don't try to accusations, but I can't. That's just not right. Ace don't do that. With crossover, Ace don't do minimum grades. If that makes sense, you can't submit like a PSA 9 and it get an Ace 10. But if it doesn't get an Ace 10, keep it in the PSA slab. Impossible for us. We've got to open it up, because you can't grade a card without looking at it and holding it. It's mental.
Can I just say something off the back of that as well, though?
Yeah.
The quality control of your slabs has been horrific recently.
Yeah, it goes up and it goes down, but it's too. Go on, that's the question.
Yeah, sorry. Because obviously I often get asked to crack. Obviously, if someone sends us a card and it gets an Ace 9 or an Ace 8, they'll crack it, want it raw for the binder. And I have had some cards where the plastic that holds the card from the top to bottom, I can crack your slabs and the card is still stuck in there. It's pinched in. It's pinned or it's pinched. And that has actually damaged the card inside the slab. Like, I feel, again, if you're in your infancy, this is stuff that you would naturally go through. But it feels now that you are, like you said, you're doing 5,000 slabs a day. We can appreciate, and again, PSA are notorious for this, so I'm not just saying it's you, it's all grading companies. But consistency is key. Like, surely if you can see it, like I can when a card's returned or bought into me, your encapsulation team can see that before it's put in the slab, because it's basically dead ends of the slab that then damage the card inside of it.
Yeah, this is where Tom would answer this stuff way better than I, because he's the product guy. He's the person who does all the plastic stuff, all the welding stuff. We are always improving the slabs as well. We've got new ones on the way soon. Not a new design, but it's new, not new material, but it's best. I don't know if you know how this works, like injection molding. So it's like you have to get a tool, you have to polish a tool. We've got a lot of tools on the way to help with that. So we've got new ones with the Yu-Gi-Oh, new sports, new Pokemon tool coming, new slabs coming. Again, same visual, just different. But yeah, there's a load of different factors, Even at the minute, heat. So in the UK, it's very hot right now. That changes the weld. Even if you've got air conditioning, even if you treat the rooms, it just changes the strength of the weld. So I think Tom changed it last week, where a lot of some of the weld marks were showing up. So he had to change the pressure of the machines to make sure that it wasn't starting to show more weld marks. That's one factor in it. Sometimes the manufacturers have differences in their machines. Sometimes there's some specs on it. The QA team, they do a very good job, and sometimes they do too good of a job. There's times where, like, again, as you're saying, they're cracking a slab. Slabs aren't designed to be cracked, if that makes sense. Even though the community does it, like Ace can't really go, well, actually, if you crack it, you are risking damaging the card. There's a difference, I guess, if it's stuck in there or whatever it may be. But that is sort of the way it goes. So even Ace, right? If Ace weld a slab and it's not up to scratch, they got to make a choice, right? Is that worth us opening that and going again, or is it worth sending it out? You know what I'm saying? So that kind of thought process is there. No one weld is the same either. One difficult thing with Ace is that we try and make crystal clear slabs. If you make clear slabs, you're going to get weld marks, you're going to get imperfections. That's why PSA frost the case, so you can't see all that stuff. It happens on their slabs. So yeah, the quality. Yeah, I agree. It's got to be better. And I'm one of the people who I actually sometimes I can't be involved in a lot of that stuff. I can be, by the way. I can stomach it, but like I'm just very nitpicky about everything. Like nothing's ever good enough. And I'm not trying to say that we send stuff out the door that is bad, but there's always a cat and mouse thing where, like, do we want to meet? This is why the price change is there as well. Do we want to sort of do more? The goal is not to do as many cards per day. That's not my goal. My goal is not to do more cards than Beckett, more than PSA. We're doing a lot of cards at the minute, and I like to share that and say, look at how well the team's doing. But it's not like a race who can do the most cards. It's like I want to maybe be able to have more quality there as well. So it's like, at the same time, if Ace did sort of hold back every single stab that went out there, you'd probably get 500 out a day, But there's things where you have to just sort of, not trying to say turn a blind eye either, because they're not doing that. You got to make a conscious decision. Do we crack that one? Do we redo that one? Do we go through again? Or is that something that is sort of part and parcel of the I don't know, elasticity of the, I don't know, plastic? This way, tying any Thompson with these fancy words, but that's the tough thing. But again, we are making new slabs. It's taken us years, to do that. And also, one thing with Ace is the manufacturing of the slabs is in the UK. Labels are made in the UK, the slabs made in the UK. Every single grading company out there goes to China. I can't believe these people who create a grading company and use PSA size slabs. Makes my blood boil, but they do that, and Ace doesn't. So the marketing team, shout out to head of marketing, he's been putting a lot of the brand identity stuff to do with Ace, and I think one of the key points that he brought out from doing his research with all the staff members, the graders, because I told him to go and talk to the staff. Don't talk to me about the brand story. Talk to the staff, talk to the head of grading, talk to Jordan, the label artist, talk to these people and try and develop your own brand story. He put it in there, the hard path. Like Ace always takes the hard path. We don't make it easy for ourselves. If we made it easy for ourselves, we would do AI labels. If we want to make it easy for ourselves, we would use frosted plastic. We wouldn't try and go with that ambitious, method of trying to get crystal clear slabs. But we always do the thing that is not the hardest to be, just for hard sake, but we do the hard thing because we want to try and get that quality. And with that, you do open up yourself for some failures. You do open yourself up for some more weld marks, But it's always like a battle, But we are investing a lot. Like the new tooling's taking like a year to get ready, So I think that's one thing you got to remember with Ace as well in grading companies. It's like if we make that commitment to spend the money on new tooling for the slabs last year. We got how many can these tools, by the way, they're cut out of steel. So it's like, do you want to go with like a single cavity and just making one plastic slab each time, or do you want to go with 4, 5, 10? So Ace got to go, right, let's go with 2. Right now we're getting 1,000 cards in a day. Let's go with 2. 6 months later, it's still not even done yet. Now we're doing 4,000 a day. So all that stuff matters. There's been times we've run out of plastic. A couple of weeks ago, ran out of sports plastic. Okay, cool. Luxury dead then. It's just, this happens. So, but yeah, I hope that answers the question. But yeah, I agree with you. I want it to be better. I want it to be crystal clear.
Cool. Yeah. Can you do me one solid, Randy? Can you just look dead in the camera and just tell people that your labels aren't AI?
They're not AI. Oh my god! We would again. I would turn on my grave if they were ever to be AI. Also, it's the most disrespectful thing people can say, because the artists work day in, day out. We've got 5 label artists right now. They're all incredible. 2 new ones come in recently. Fresh from uni. Again, it's why I get so much pride in Ace. These people just come out of fucking uni, go straight into working at Ace grading label artists, and they're unreal, Recently, we had a situation, but we are backlogged on labels quite badly, very, very badly at the minute. There's a lot of delays in label creation. Again, because we used to open every day at 6 o'clock, right? This is the commodity and the service stuff. When that was happening, only those who were fast enough on a computer and knew Ace inside out would get in. Right, the regular collectors weren't getting in, so we had to make a conscious effort of opening up fully to stop doing that 6 p.m. launches. What the core that what happened with that is, because now we're fully open, those casual collectors and the kids out there, whatever, who do want to send in reverse holo Ribombi can now do that. So that just made the label request go fucking mental. So it's not only like the 6 p.m. people are those sending Greninja promos, Charizard. So they're done, just fly through the service. Now we're open. You've got Star Wars cards coming through. You know, you got honestly, what was it? Godzilla cards coming through, right? That's a one-on-one label. No else going to grade that sort of thing mentality. So like then the label request started piling up. You know, that's sort of like the reality of it. So that's why when I do talk about these price changes, I know for a fact whether people want to agree with me or not, this will allow regular people to submit as well, because we, by the way, us three here are not regular people. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on wherever we're on. We're in the hobby. We're not a regular person. The regular person is acegrading.com, submit, £18. That works for my Yoda. Fucking send it in. That is the real collector, right? And I can tell you for a fact that person has got more accessibility to Ace in this last 6 months since December than they had last year when we were open up at 6 o'clock. So that's just is proven to put in, and it'll happen again. That's why we're hiring so many label artists at the minute, because of the fact that we know that the more we're open, the more weird stuff comes through, and we like the weird stuff. Ace is built on the weird stuff, you know. I would take that Yoda card over base Charizard every day of the week, you know, in terms of what I want people to submit. I love nothing more than people sending weird stuff to Ace. I love it. But to answer your question, no way is there other labels AI. I will happily. But again, one thing about Ace, content is our biggest. Like, I'm a YouTuber, right? Yeah. I'm built on content. We don't show anything at Ace. We show nothing. The goal has always been to show something, but we're so busy. We're so cramped in at the current headquarters. It's like we can't. Yeah, we're trying to get to that place. So all I want to do is be as transparent as possible, and I need people to understand that. And also, people don't know what they want. You know, they go, "You want to be transparent? Cool." So we did an announcement that the price are changing soon. Everyone goes, "What's the point in that? Why would you do an announcement of an announcement?" Well, you want to be transparent. You got to, you know. Anyway, long story short, no AI. And honestly, that is a conscious decision that will always be the case. And again, it goes what I was saying a minute ago, the hard path. You know, we'll take the hard path rather than the easy way out. The easy way out will be AI labels, but they look shit. You know, they look awful. There's no way these labels will look as good as they do with AI. It's impossible otherwise. So, and also heart and soul. Yeah, there's times where Jordan and the rest of the team, they put some weird stuff in there. They put like a little Gengar hidden in there. They put like in spaghetti hoops, they'll put like little letters there. It's sick, man. That stuff does not happen by AI, you know. So yeah, no, yeah.
You are really, really testing their patience with Yu-Gi-Oh! Extended Up, and Jesus Christ.
Yes. Well,
the holiday pays good.
Yeah. Well, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a tough one because that's ready soon, but at the minute the capacity is absolutely, the demand's nuts. It's like, well, I want to do some sick stuff for Yu-Gi-Oh! But it's like it's one more thing to add to it. Even in Europe, right? One more thing to add to it. It's like I feel like we're in jail. We're in jail with this capacity. Do my head in.
Right. One of the final questions about, obviously we're talking about the PSA thing. But this is a PSA related question, and it's something that I was chatting about literally last year to a few people, and it's something that you've probably been, and to be fair, you've probably referenced it, but PSA, knock on the door tomorrow, give you a call tomorrow. Randy, we like your operation. We're coming over. We want to buy you out. Is there a number?
Is there a number? There's always a number. That's the first thing I'll say to everyone out there. Of course, there's a number, but what is that number? Is that number 500 million? You know, who's going to stand in front of 500 million and be like, you know what? Nah, man. But no, there's no real. I'd be in the world of shit if that happened. You know, like that's everyone at Ace would succeed in that thing, apart from me. You know, but. I don't know. I'd say it's not about the number. It's more about what the plan would be, if that makes any sense. Like, and that's anyone, right? Anyone coming through. Like, you know, if PSA can go and buy out as a big shiny building tomorrow, you know what I mean? That means we can fucking do what we want to do and continue the capacity growth. If they came and said, we want to buy you to dissolve you, then no way. Do you know what I mean? No matter what the number, there's not a number for that. But there is a number if someone comes and goes, look, we love what you're doing. You're amazing for the community. We can make your wildest dreams come true. You can have absolutely full reign on whatever you want to turn Ace into. Then, yeah, of course there's a number for that. But like, that's not how the world works, you know? So sort of that question, as much as people like they want to probably quote that and stuff, like, I think, you know, if someone calls, you got to have the conversation. But you know,
of course,
that's why I think I like the fact that me and Tom are sort of like running this, because we have that you know. And again, even Tom, like, he's someone that obviously, of course, wants to be successful in life, but he's got that hunger to make something great. So I don't know, who knows? It's like that's my answer, but it's not real. So I don't know. I have to see when it happens.
No, that's fair. And again,
I will say, but can I say one thing as well about it? It's probably killing me for saying this. I think PSA, as much as people will hate this, they are also in the same predicament that Ace is in and every other company out there, they also have the same difficulties with supply and demand. And one thing that is tough with that I don't understand is that they've got so much money that like that surely that point that I don't know if we had an infinite amount of money we'd solve it. But I think the market is growing so fast that like I don't know, everyone's going to hate me for saying it, but they are also trying probably as hard as they possibly can. And that should tell everyone if they doing 100,000 cards a day with 10 million cards in their backlog and $5 billion valuation, like if they are not open, then that's got to let you know that Ace grading fucking 5,000 cards a day are also trying their very best with limited resources, you know. So yeah.
And I will never discredit Ace or you for that, because that analogy is exactly right. Like if the market leader is struggling and having to shut, again, going into this, I was asked about rumors, and I was like, well, no, PSA put a statement out weeks ago saying they were shutting for 2 weeks to then redivert stuff to Germany, but then obviously they come out with this statement going, no,
I saw on Twitter they even said as well that you know, we don't want to close certain bits, and then they had to anyway. I think the 14th of May I saw them be like, but like, you know, stuff just happened, you know. Like but one thing as well, so I think people always are confused at why we close the basic tiers before we close the higher end tiers, and the simple answer to that question is if you think about the volume, obviously. You know, so before it was basic, standard, premier, ultra, luxury. More people submit on basic than they do on standard, and it goes like that. So when you've got, you know, 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 cards arriving at Ace per day, you're doing 4,000. Well, which one's arriving the most? Well, basic is arriving more than standard, so you close that, and you close standard, close premier. So luxury at the minute, luxury was invented from us to actually always stay open, because again, like I told you before, the worst thing you can do, I think, as a grading company is be closed. Someone pulls that big card, someone, you know, I don't know, some Scourge Charizard, someone's got a Scourge Charizard, wants to grade it with Ace, they can't. That's really detrimental to Ace. So that tier back in the day, £50 was made so that it's always staying open, so that no matter what, that tier stays open, and there's always accessibility there. That's why at the minute, by the way, luxury and ultra are so expensive, is just let it be open. But the reason we closed the cheaper tiers before is because they arrive more. So there's you know, 2,000 cards arriving a day, 3,000 cards arriving a day from basic, and you know, you can't just leave them there. You got to open them up, you got to store them, you got to do all this stuff. So for us, it's easy to close the tiers and let a dribble of luxury come through, which is helping people get access to the service. That's why it works. What went wrong in the current stage? We always make a commitment to ourselves: don't get backlogged. We've done it many times in the past. Don't let it happen again. It's the worst thing. We closed basic and standard, and it's sort of like everyone started using Premier. And it sort of takes a while for you to actually receive them and actually understand how many is coming in. Then we closed Premier, and I kid you not, everyone went Ultra. Like everyone went the same amount of Ultra as the rest of them. That's when we realized that, right, this balance is gone, because no matter what we close, they just submit it. So at that point, when I say the value is there, the value is clearly there for someone out there. I don't know who they are, but they collectively are doing that. So that's how it sort of happens. And another thing that people don't realize at Ace is if someone could submit, so we could get 10,000 cards submitted on Monday. Only 40% of them could arrive. Only 80% of them could arrive. People don't. You don't pay up front. You pay at the end. So someone could submit a card and don't actually send it. That messes with our data so badly. You know. Sometimes someone would send a card, didn't arrive for another month or two, and at that point, it's like, well, fucking like it's really hard to do the maths. You know. So you can only do the maths based on what's arriving on any given day. Before you know it, you backlogged, you know, and that's how it happens. So that's why we really, even this new launch, like the team are on alert every single day, look at the numbers, look at what's arriving, and try and do the mental math on sort of actual math, not mental math, on like what to close and when. That's why with the new operation, we're going to do our very, very, very best to close stuff in the right form. And this one, it will go ultra, premier, standard, basic, and then the membership tiers, hopefully never. But like, just, cards that are submitted are not the cards that arrive, you know. And also, one thing that I will say about Ace as well is that like there's different size submissions. So if you've got say two graders, just to make it easy, or two staff members, doesn't matter what they're doing, and so, I don't know. Say I get. I won't use me before someone takes that out of context. Say grader number 1 gets a submission with 10 cards in it. Grader number 2 gets a submission with 300 cards in it. That one with 10 cards is going to be done quicker than that submission with 300 cards. Even if that 300 arrived before, number 10 is going to go faster. So that's how it happens as well. That's how someone can have their cards returned faster than someone else. Also, one person could have one label in their submission that needs creating in a submission of 500 cards, or no, 300 cards. That one's now held up the entire submission. So even recently we had the labeled artist, they've been going through chronologically, but they've also been going like, right, this one label unlocks 300 cards, let's get that one done. So this is, I'm trying to only say this, and it's not a question, but to demonstrate how like stuff doesn't move in a straight line at Ace. It's like left, right, center, you know?
Yep.
So
okay. A few questions off of that, or a few essential pain point problems.
Yep.
Why don't you switch to charging up front? Surely that will limit the amount of cards coming in, which will solve that issue. Because if you flip that switch, people are then going to make that conscious decision to not send the guff, the EXs that you see.
Yeah, I think the biggest issues with that is like, well, number one, what if someone sends a counterfeit card in that doesn't actually get graded and get sent back to them? What if a card is ungradable? What if there's so many different reasons, and if you paid that, you got to refund them all. And also, I don't think it's nice to submit a card for 45 days and pay for it and not come back yet. I think it's better to do it the other way around. You pay when it gets completed. So again, that's sort of how do I say, out of my wheelhouse. I'm not the only person who can answer that question, but that's my instinct on it, and that's based on the conversations in the past. And also, it's just how, again, I don't want to say it is what it is. That's how we designed it, and but there's a lot of,
that's fair enough.
There's probably all points to that where, like, maybe in the future one tier could be that, I don't know, pay as you go or something. I don't know.
Yep. And secondly, PSA, obviously we've seen reports that their night staff were obviously being their night staff were purely on regular and express and ignoring value, bulk, and all that sort of stuff. Is Ace purely Monday through Friday, or do you have night staff and do you work weekends?
Yeah, so Ace predominantly was Monday to Friday. Since the growth, staff have been working overtime. There's a lot of overtime done at Ace. I think there's now 2 shifts at Ace, Monday to Friday. I probably shouldn't go into too much detail on this, but there's more shifts now. So there's more shifts now at Ace. There's another one being added. Weekends, there are staff members that work on weekends. It's more of like a skeleton sort of operation, and it is not everyone's in there in weekends. But we do know we can with that. So there are more shifts, And I will say as well, probably maybe on the back of that, I don't know if you're getting at that or not. There's not like at Ace. There's not like people always think at PSA there's a lane where only certain graders get basic. Only certain at Ace, it's not that. There are senior graders at Ace. There are sort of header grading. I think they will always do spot checks. They'll always do consistency checks. And also, if for example, I think a really big card comes through, I'm sure then the senior grader wants to look at that one. There's stuff that happens at Ace like that. But it's not like pay luxury, you get a better grader. No way. I also saw someone say like, membership at Ace, they're gonna get better grades. I will say, you guys probably understand this, but there's nothing like that. That's not how businesses operate. So all those kind of myths that you got to throw out the window with Ace or any actual reputable company, because people don't do that kind of stuff. At least Ace don't do that kind of stuff.
No, that's fair. No,
I mean, pop control, this kind of stuff does not exist. You know what I mean? Ace.
No, we know it exists elsewhere though.
But again, that was the joke that I used to say to PSA. But now I'm in this POV. I'm like, well, I don't know. Is that just me being cynical?
It's no joke. It's no joke. Let's be honest. Obviously you can't as Ace, but I can as an individual. Pop control is a real thing at PSA. It's a fucking piss take.
Okay, yeah.
I tell you, I'm interested in just this is my last question. The amount of time I spend looking at a card when I pre-grade, can vary.
Yep.
But when it comes to a grader, have they got a set time frame that they can look at a card?
No. It's nothing like that. It's not like a conveyor belt catalog type of thing. Again, this is where, I mean, maybe it comes down to do a podcast like this with you guys or someone, but like that's where he invented the grading scale. He ran the whole grading operation. There's headers grading, so I'm not part of it, but there's not that. No, there's not that at all. There's not that. No. And also, it's funny. I always realize, like, like I don't know, an Ace 4 will probably get more time spent on it than an Ace 10. I mean, if that makes sense, because like you got to do the POIs, points of interest. You got to do. There's so much more things wrong with it. I always find it funny. I'm always like, a card's ripped in half. You got to sit there and do all the dots, because it's absolutely battered. But then what I always think, I generally find it's amazing as well. I can speak to you guys more as like a submitter of Ace when it comes to grading, rather than a founder or owner, because I got no part in it. But I always find that someone who does send 100 Japanese artists of the same Pokemon, you get 10, 10, 9, 6, 6. I'm thinking, fuck, that grader there is going nuts. They're looking at every single thing of the same card 100 times. Like, fair play, fair play.
It's a nightmare having to look at the same card over and over again. It's fucking mind-numbing.
Also, one thing to point out, now I've got random cards. I got a guy to do that. He does all the submissions. I don't touch him. I think this card is cool. Give it to him. He submits it. It's not even. So not only is there no conflict of interest in terms of me at Ace, I don't touch the cards there anymore. Nice. Through him.
Anything else you want to add, Dan?
I suppose the last question going to RAN cards. And again, it's to do with your buy list and the buy prices.
Yeah.
Obviously near mint condition qualities. Again, it is unique. I'll give you that. But some of those prices are rough, Randy.
Mate, the buy list is rough, by the way. We use a system, not our system. I'm building one of my own right now to make it better, but I hate it. The prices are not accurate. They're based on TCG prices in the USA. They don't have the new sets. Perfect Order wasn't on there. Chaos Rising's not on there yet. It's just jarring, you know? But I will say what the buy list, people misunderstand the buy list. The buy list is not me at a card show saying I want to buy that card for this, that card for that. It's unlimited access. So if it's on there, we will buy it. The stuff that comes through the buy list that is generally crap. No one would buy. You wouldn't buy that. No one would buy that. We buy it. We stomach it. We buy it. Put it on the website. It never sells. You know. So when people say, "Oh, you're charging 55%, 65%, whatever," by the way, just to clear that up as well, the way I used to do it, I used to set all of the prices of the way the system works is it lists cards onto my Shopify store and on the buy list. It's the same thing, right? So I used to put the prices of my selling cards up by 20%. So whatever TCG player said, I was like, I'm selling it for 120%, right? Just because the cards that would go on there is stuff that's worth like £2, you know? So I want to make sure that I'm not getting jammed out of any of these prices. Then when I was setting the buy price, I got to set the buy price based, the way it works is it's a price off your sale price. So I got to do a percentage off of 120%. So if I'm doing, I'd do 50% of 120%, which is, I think it's like 65%, something like that. So that's how I used to work it. Now it's not this. Now it's 100% of market is what my site sells at based on TCG players, not in UK price anyway. So I'm already getting, sometimes I'm losing out that. Sometimes the customer's losing. I don't know. And then on that, it says, I can got my computer out and read it. Now it scales. So it's like the lowest is 60%. For cheap cards, I think £0 to £5, 60%, and it scales up. So the top one is like 75, 80% cash, then like 90% trade. So, you know, it's like, I will say, like, this is what people got to realize. I'm not some sort of guy that is evil. In fact, when I'm at card shows, I pay way too much than I should. And that's always been the case. Whereas on the buy list, it's just like, it's very hard to keep track of 30,000 different cards. But I'm building the system now to make it more accurate, to try and get better, like, aggregates of pricing. But yeah, it's not. I hate it. I do hate it because people go like, "Oh, Randy pays." They find one card on there that is half price, and they go, "Randy pays 50%." Cool. On that one, yes, that price not even correct on TCG Player. Like Gold Stars. Gold Stars on my buy list, for example, for like £500. Obviously, no one's going to submit Gold Star through there. I can't go through every card and manually do it, but we are trying to fix it. But yeah, buy list is sick though. People do love that. It actually works really well for them because we get cards, we get submissions at like £3,000. We pay that, and it's just like someone's entire collection. They would have to sit there on eBay. And again, not everyone's like us, right? Not everyone is like us. Got the timing to do that. Some people just want to get rid of a card. And the dark side that people don't understand is that that's online. You can go on there and look at that. You can see the price I pay. I'm doing YouTube videos of me saying I'm paying 70% cash, 80% credit. Go into these shops out there when the camera's not on, they will absolutely rinse you. I know guys in America that joke at the fact that they pay 20%, 30%. I know people that go into UK card shops. If they know that the collector has no idea what they've got, they will absolutely rinse them. I would never do that. I would tell someone, this is worth this much money. Here's my offer. Even I made a video today, and in that I was talking about the Gold Star Alakazam I bought recently, a card show that everyone loves to bring up, right? That is, I think at the time it was £18,000 PSA 10. I bought it for £9,500 Ace 10. That's where the conundrum lies. Is like he came up to me. I was walking around at a card show. Everyone, this seller. They keep saying to me, "There's a guy in a beige shirt that wants to sell you a Gold Star Alakazam." I don't even know if I want that card, right? But it's pretty cool. I like buying cool Ace cards. I'm going to try and hunt him down. So I'm there with my mate Freezy. We're walking around. We see the guy with the beige shirt. There he is. You know. He goes, "I got an offer recently. My last offer is £8,000. Can you beat that?" Why would I go? Yeah. 18 grand. I'm gonna go 9 grand. You know what I mean? Like the offer there is 8 grand. So I'm offering 9 grand. So then he wanted 9.5. So we settled on 9.5. Then online, everyone's going, "Oh my god, why would you not buy that for 18 grand?" No. And also, what I love to say to people is that no one other than me would even buy it for 9.5 grand. You know, if you guys don't support Ace, you guys don't support Ace, you're not buying it for that. So it's like, yeah, cool. PSA, and also by the way, PSA prices are going nuts. You know, I wouldn't buy that card for 18 grand PSA either. You know, I'd do the same thing. Yeah. So I want to clear that out. Like, there's no sort of part of me where I hide behind anything. So even though yes, my buy list does have dirt low rates on there, if I spot it, I can change it. But it's not my goal. You know what I mean? And also, I'm open, but you know. You can love what I do, you can hate what I do, but you can watch me and do it. So many people hide. Everyone hides out there. You know, I see these sellers at card shows. They do it at card shows, man. So it is what it is.
There's some scummy people out there for sure.
Exactly. And by the way, I never try and say this stuff to not get hate. I actually don't care. Generally, I do not care if someone, because the way I operate is that if someone knows who I am and respects who I am, then that's the person I care about. If someone doesn't, then I don't care about that person either. But like, so people are welcome to their own opinion. That's why you guys, if I'm scrolling through, I never feel a certain way about it, you know, because like if you don't know me really, you might have watched my stuff, you don't know me. You know? So like you can say what you want. Same thing on TV. I'm like, oh, Ronaldo, fucking idiot, you know. But I'm sure he's not. I mean, maybe he is. I don't know. But like, you know what I'm trying to say. But
Clip it.
yeah. But I don't do so to be liked, you know. It's like weird. But you know, sometimes I go the opposite way. Sometimes, yeah, you're right. At the start of this, maybe I should step back on some things, but you know, it's what it is.
It's not in your nature, is it?
No, that's not, you know. But yeah.
Well, we could probably sit here for another 3 hours, but you've given us more than enough time. So, human to human, I really appreciate you giving us this time.
I appreciate it as well. No, I always, I think not even for the price change, I always watch this stuff and I'm always like, you know, at one point it'd be good for me to hop on there. I enjoy doing podcasts, and also we used to have one back in the day, me and Tom, we used to have a podcast, you know, so I love this kind of shit.
I saw it earlier, to be fair, when I was digging through the Randy archives. So I was like, he used to do one.
And this is what I'm trying to get at. People don't realize that, like, this is where things start at, right? This is where this is where the hobby comes from. So it's like this kind of stuff is like genuinely like where I came from, where everyone you got to start somewhere. So that's the Ace affiliate thing as well. Like, you know, yeah, we do get some weirdos on there, but like, you know, if I can give something to someone that can uplift their career, then fuck it, you know. Sick.
Anyway. Can I give someone a clip? Can I give our friends a clip? Can we get a code for the pod?
You can get a code. Why not?
Well, our thought process behind this is let's turn this into a positive.
Yeah.
Is if we donated to charity, the affiliate side of things.
Yeah.
We'd love to do that.
Yeah, we can do that. We can hook that up for sure, no problem. I will say as well, there's another podcast that was hating on me recently as well.
Yes, we know.
Yeah. But then this as well, this done my head in, right? Because these lot, right? They say all that stuff. Number one, that guy was
affiliates.
Yeah, but he Imperium grading affiliate. I don't get it. Like,
Randy, thank you so much.
Chatting shit about Randy.
This, and then like you just opens the door for me right now. I said exactly the same fucking thing.
Yeah,
I was like, you cannot say, oh, here's my ace grading code, slag you off, and then have your podcast affiliated with some fucking startup.
There's a guy who is I don't know if you saw it on the Facebook groups, left Ace affiliate. So he's a guy called Joey or whatever, Elite 4. He left he publicly did an Instagram post saying after the price changes, I'm leaving. He was about to get removed because he was using his own affiliate code on a different account submissions, basically gaming his own stuff. So like this is what I'm saying. So people do this kind of stuff, you know. They go like, right, I'm leaving Ace because the price change is bad. They were going to leave anyway. They're going to be kicked out, you know. So online, you can never believe what you see. That's why I respect you guys, because like you actually say this what you believe. That's always a better approach than like feign. You know, that's what I'm saying about me. Love me or hate me, this is where the
you're here.
Yeah, and I'm a founder of Ace, and again, like, would there be a conflict of interest if I was the owner of Ace? Just no, because it's not how I operate. Ace wouldn't get to decide if that was the way. Same thing with like that podcast there. They're going to shit all over Ace, Randy, Wakoa, and got Imperium grade. It's like you know. Sometimes, and then also what I hate is that the people who don't click that will not know that, you know. It's like misinformation. Even with the whatnot stuff, with the Roses grading and stuff, like I will never be there saying that I'm not Ace owner, if that makes sense. There's never a point where I'm going like I'm not the founder of Ace. And I always use the analogy of like, if I'm the owner of Nike, I'm not going to walk around wearing Adidas. You know, what would be worse is if I'm sitting here every night on Whatnot doing PSAs, you see slaps, that would be worse than Randy doing, the Ace. And again, by the way, I fucking love Ace and I love grading, you know, so it's like, if I didn't, the Ace wouldn't be where it is today, you know, so I'm not going to apologize for looking liking my own company. But anyway, yeah, that's just that on that podcast, the guys. But yeah.
No, thank you again. It's
all good.
It's time to wrap it up. I think it's time for my bed.
Yeah,
to
bro.
So,
I've got to leave as well. I don't sleep anymore. I don't sleep.
We'll go.
Yeah.
So as always, I've been Curio Rich, and this has been my good friend Raging Nez. And Randy, you don't need to shout it out, but is there anyone you want to shout out? Any socials?
Shout Ace Grading, June the 1st, reopening. And also, I'm scared, man. Actually, you know what? Please, just maybe don't submit cards because we're gonna get rammed.
Give it work.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay, well, thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
It's time to say goodbye. Thank you very much for listening and for watching. Good night, guys.
Take care.